But if I did that, then what about you? Nux questioned. Of course, his talk about him controlling his ability was all bullshit. He didn't have that level of control yet. Heck, he didn't even know if he could control it in the future. What about me? Look, Fel, my goal is a lot bigger than you think. You might be a beautiful woman right now, but in a few years your age will catch up to you. Your body wouldn't be able to handle all the pleasure and we wouldn't be able to have sex as we do now. You are the first woman I fell in love with. There is no way I would let that happen. You are just a 28-year-old woman right now. 28 can be considered young if you are a cultivator. You might not be able to cultivate now that your prime is over, but that doesn't mean I cannot help you. I plan to force you to be with me in all my adventures from now on, and not just for a few years, but for many, many years to come ahead. Felberta's anger soothed a little when she heard that. Her age was her biggest worry right now. Seeing him thinking about her and also finding ways to help her warmed her heart a little. Also, the words, "You are the first woman I fell in love with," filled her heart with an immense sense of satisfaction and delight. She had long since considered him as her boy toy. She felt happy that he felt the same way. Of course, that doesn't mean she will forgive him so easily. She kept a tough front and questioned, "Then what would you have done if I had ordered to get you killed in a fit of anger?" "As if you can bear to see me get killed." How would you know that?" "Is it me standing here in front of you enough proof?" Nux smirked arrogantly. Felberta wanted to strangle him to death after seeing his arrogant expression. "Okay, now calm down. How about I apologize with my body instead?" Nux smiled as walked toward her before embracing her lovingly. Nux nodded weakly. Nux's smile widened as he picked her up and placed her on his bed to start another round of lovemaking. "Ang, ang, ang, ang." Hearing the loud moaning sound coming out of the room, Skyla couldn't help but widen her big green eyes. Wasn't the Viscount angry? Why is she moaning like that? What did Nux do? Name, Felberta Elve. Age, 28. Mana cultivation, mortal. Body cultivation, mortal. Occupation, Viscount of Skyfall Kingdom. Race, human. Talent, low. Level, 6. HP, 130 of 130. Strength, 10. Agility, 11. Vitality, 13. Stamina, 11. Intel, 10. Defense, 10. My strength increased again. While being in Nux's warm embrace, without wearing anything, Felberta muttered, still surprised by how absurd his ability was. "It did, but not as much as before," Nux nodded. "How do you know?" "I can see others' strength with my eyes." Nux pointed at his hypnotic golden eyes. Felberta stared at them before noticing some sort of golden patterns moving around as if they were alive. "I wonder how many more surprises you have for me." "Oh, just wait. Your future journey would be nothing short of fantasy. I promise you." Felberta nodded with a smile. "Nux," suddenly Felberta called out. "Can you tell me who the other woman you spend time with?" "Do you promise not to say anything to her?" "That's not it. I have already accepted that you will meet and spend time with a lot more amazing women in the future. Many of these women would be even better than me. I'm just thinking that since I have the advantage of meeting you the earliest, I would create a faction under me to increase my influence over you." "I can't believe you thought this far ahead. You really are a Viscount, aren't you?" Hearing her words, Nux laughed out loud. The more he laughed, the redder Felberta's face got, as she pinched his waist in anger. "Ouch! I give up! I give up!" Don't do that anymore, Nux cried in pain. Of course, with his defense right now, it didn't hurt him that much, but it was still fun to see her reactions. Moments later, Nux turned serious as he replied, Fel, remember it. No matter how many women I meet, no matter how amazing they are, you, as my first love, will always have a special place in my heart. I will always love you, okay? Felberta's heartbeat quickened. Her face turned redder every second, and she replied in a voice as low as a mosquito. I will always love you as well. Seeing her acting like that, Nux tightened his embrace around her. His hand played with her soft breasts, while his limp rod stood up again. Sensing a hard and very familiar thing poking her ass, Felberta's face turned redder even more before she threw away her bashfulness and returned to her previous Viscount mode. Tisk, tisk, you got hard again. What kind of horny animal are you? You don't sound very convincing when your ass is moving like it's trying to get my rod closer to your canal. In your dreams, I would Tisk, tisk, and you had the gulls to call me a horny animal. Nux snorted before he drilled his rod right into her canal. Congratulations to the host for rising to a beginner stage mana cultivator from a mortal stage mana cultivator. Int +5, blank points +10. Congratulations to the host for rising to a beginner stage body cultivator from a mortal stage body cultivator. STR +3, AGL +3, VIT +3, STM +3, DEF +3, blank points +5. System shop unlocked. Name Nux Leander. Age 18. Mana cultivation beginner. Body cultivation beginner. Race human. Talent low. LVL 9 to 13. HP 370/370. MP 170/170. STR 23 to 34. AGL 30 to 41. VIT 26 to 37. STM 27 to 38. INT 17 to 26. DEF 22 to 33. Blank points 33 to 60. Ability Craving Touch, Eye of Discerning. Harem members Felberta Alve, Skyla Hale. Countless messages appeared in front of Nux as he released his jizz inside Skyla. A large amount of energy that gushed into his body felt great. He slowly removed his dick from her body as he smiled. It felt really good. It felt good for me as well, Skyla muttered shyly. Nux kissed her forehead before he hugged her from behind as the two stayed in the same position for a while. Since Lane was back today, they couldn't have sex in the bathroom. Therefore, Nux sneakily brought her to his room after Skyla asked Lane to do her part of work as well for a while. Though confused, Lane nodded in agreement, and Skyla quickly sneaked away with Nux without letting anyone know about this, not even Lane. Skyla enjoyed his embrace as she snuggled even closer to his body, which has now gained some muscles, making him manlier than before. After a few hours outside Felberta's office, Joyab's mouth was twitching uncontrollably after he saw Nux entering Viscount Felberta's office with a smile on his face. Nobody will know how he will react if he was told that his words were the ones responsible for their relationship getting back on track and getting even stronger than before. However, Nux wasn't here to have sex with Felberta like before. Today, they were on a mission. Nux and Fel smiled when they glanced at each other as Nux remembered the time after they had sex last night. Nux. Yeah? You still haven't told me who the other woman is yet. It's Skyla. It's her? But how did you know that she was a cult? Oh, your eyes. Then what about Lane? What do you plan to do with her? Of course I plan to have sex with her as well, but I still can't think how. Nux replied honestly. He might have ignored her, since she and Skyla had around the same level of strength, but he had that mission with the penalty of him being stripped of his craving touch. He can't afford that. But tricking Lane won't be as simple as it was with Skyla. Huh? Why do you sound like I always trick women to get under their skirts? Huh? Isn't that what you do? Fel did not waste the chance to retort to him. Nux thought about it a little bit and decided to remain silent. He knew himself well. Heck, he even tricked this woman in front of him. How can he retort back? Fel snorted before she continued. As I was saying, Lane isn't as easy to deal with as Skyla. Skyla is a little clumsy, so it was easy to trick her, but Lane is too serious about her work. She would shun you away before you could even touch her. This will be a little trickier then. Nux muttered. I can help you if you do what I told you to do for the rest of the night. What do you think? Fel offered. You'll help me? Aren't you against me spending time with other women? Nux questioned in surprise. I am, but I also know that with a weird ability like that, it will benefit you greatly. Also, Skyla and Lane are different. I know them already, so I can bring them to my faction. I can't believe you're still thinking about it. You don't have to worry about that. Just tell me, do you accept or not? Fel snapped. I will be under your care for the night then, master. Fel smiled seductively before she brought her hand in front of his mouth, and just like an obedient servant, he gently kissed her hand, showing his submission. You still dare to act ignorant after stealing my man like that, huh? Felberta snapped. Skyla's face turned pale when she heard that. She then quickly bowed and apologized. I am very sorry, Viscount Felberta. I was the one who seduced him. It was not Nux's fault. If you are angry, then please punish me. Seeing her acting like that, Felberta couldn't help but laugh out loud. She just wanted to tease her a little. She didn't expect her to react so strongly. Skyla, on the other hand, got even more confused when she saw her laughing like that. Don't worry, I won't punish you. It's not your fault. That Nux is a scoundrel. Once he lays his trap, no one can escape it. That's not it. I am really telling the truth. I was the one who seduced him. It was not his fault. Felberta was dumbfounded when she saw her acting like that. She felt like she was a tyrant of a love story of a couple and is forcing them apart. I said I am not angry. Not at you, neither at Nux, so don't worry about unnecessary things, since we don't have time for that. Come here, I need your help with something. As you say, Viscount Felberta. Seeing Felberta confirming her words, Skyla smiled brightly as she quickly walked towards her. Felberta wanted to change the way she called her, since they were both the women of the same man, but deciding that it was Nux's headache, she did not bother with it. Do you know why I sent Lane and Nux together? What? Wait, Viscount Felberta? You don't mean... Yes, it is exactly as you think it is. I want Lane and Nux to be together, and for that I need your help, okay? As Felberta confirmed her doubts, Skyla couldn't help but get even more confused. She clearly remembers how mad she was when she learned that Nux had sex with another woman yesterday, but today not only she's not mad anymore, she is even helping him get another woman. What kind of magic did Nux do on her? Was she really the Viscount Felberta she knew? What are you thinking about? Do you agree or not? While she was still wondering about it, she heard Viscount Felberta's question and quickly nodded. Good. Now remember when Lane comes back. On the other hand, Lane was being dragged by Nux as he held her hand tightly. Sister Lane, don't leave my hand until I say, okay? I can only protect you if you stay with me. Although she was stronger than Nux, or she believed, Lane nodded lightly. She did not dislike this foreign feeling that arose in her heart. Sister Lane, or Lane Wayne, was a beautiful and serious woman. She had dark brown hair and eyes. She had a well-carved face with sharp brows, a thin nose, and soft pink lips. Nux's favorite part about her was her big but firm breasts, which were even larger than Fel's. Her body curves were wonderful. Coupled with her maid uniform, she was an ideal dream maid girl in any teen's fantasy. "Why didn't you and Viscount Felberta stay together today like you always do?" What do you mean?" "I meant that, why didn't you and Viscount Felberta have your afternoon session like you always do?" "Ha ha! Why are you laughing?" Lane glared at Nux. "Sorry, I just find it funny how you're so ashamed of saying the word sex. Ha ha ha!" "That's not it. That's not at all." "Oh, what is it then?" "You are too young to understand that, so there's no point explaining." "Ha ha! Look how flustered you are. Sister Lane, although you are older than me, you are still too immature. Even Sister Skyla is more mature." "Huh? Skyla? What do you mean?" "Nothing." Nux snickered internally. After a long walk, the two finally entered the market. Nux also understood why Fel said that she was not easy to deal with. During the whole journey, she didn't utter a single word. Of course, Nux also did not allow her to free her hand. The two walked hand in hand without saying any word. Nux sighed. He realized that if he did not initiate the conversation, she would not speak at all. "Sister Lane, why do you work as a maid?" He questioned whatever came to his mind. What kind of question is that?" "I mean, why do you work as a maid for Viscount Felberta? Why not other nobles? Is there any reason for that?" "Viscount Felberta's father picked me up in Skyla from an orphanage. Not only did she provide us with a decent place to live and food, she even gave us cultivation techniques to cultivate. We are both indebted to him for changing our lives and decided to work as his daughter's maids." "Huh. You and Sister Skyla are orphans? Then you two must be really close, huh?" "We are." A small smile appeared on her face when she talked about her. "Skyla is the only person I am close to." "Sister Lane, would you mind if I ask a personal question?" "You can ask. Whether I will answer or not depends on the question." "Sister Lane, do you have someone you love?" Love? Love? Mm-hmm. Do you have someone who makes your heart race just with the mere mention of his name?" "Huh? Of course not. A maid doesn't need love." "Huh? What kind of logic is that? Who said that? Who doesn't need love? Why would anyone even need love? Won't that just waste their time?" "Then do you plan to be a maid even after you get old? Don't you wish to have anyone who is there with you at all times? Anyone who you can share your joy and sadness with?" "Don't I have Skyla for that? She is there for me whenever I need her, and I can share anything I want with her," Lane countered. "But you can't have sex with Sister Skyla now, can you?" Nux snickered. "What? What? Then what if Sister Skyla found someone she loves? She definitely won't have much time for you if that happened, will she?" "Huh? Skyla finding someone she loves?" Lane frowned. "Of course. You can't be thinking of forcing Sister Skyla to live your way, are you? Finding someone you love is natural. Even if you force yourself not to, it doesn't mean Sister Skyla won't. What will you do after Sister Skyla isn't there for you anymore?" Nux questioned. "That would never happen. Skyla would never do that," Lane retorted. "Who knows? Nobody knows what the future holds. What if Sister Skyla found someone she loves? Would you want her to force her heart and continue living the boring life you two are living right now? Isn't that a very lonely way to live?" Nux's words had a huge impact on Lane. She looked back and noticed that their life was true, as Nux said, boring. Since they both cultivate, they are different from other servants and are treated differently. This caused other servants to avoid them. Of course, it did not matter to Lane because that was how they were used to live to begin with. As long as they were together, everything was fine. But that's where another problem came in. The two of them had the same job in the same place. No matter how close they were, they didn't have any topic to talk about. The two of them just eat and sleep together without having anything to talk about. She has seen other servants talking with each other about their respective spouses. Some complained, some bragged, but in the end, they still had something to share, but she and Skyla did not. When she imagined them living like that for the rest of their lives, Lane shuddered. But when she imagined Skyla finding someone she loves and leaving her behind, Lane shuddered even more. I have to talk about this with Skyla, she thought inwardly. Just as she was about to contemplate even more, she felt Nux pulling her somewhere. She then glanced at his face, and seeing the excited look on his face, she smiled unconsciously. "Sister Lane, look! A gift shop!" Nux exclaimed, his eyes gleaming in excitement. He then picked up 3 simple-looking black-colored bangles and bought them. "Why did you buy this?" "This one for Visicant Felberta, this one for Sister Skyla, and this—" She saw him smiling before she felt something on her hand. She looked down and saw a black bangle on her wrist. "And this is for you. This is also my way of saying that I will be there for you. If you ever feel lonely, you can come to me." Lane felt her heart racing like never before, as a warm feeling filled her heart, but the feeling soon disappeared when she heard his next words. "We can also have sex if you want." "You!" Lane glared at him angrily. "Ha ha ha! I'm joking, although I am actually not. You are really shameless. Come on, you need to have some sort of fun in life, don't you? Or else you would die of boredom." Lane snorted, but inside she had a little smile on her face as she glanced at the bangle in her hand. The two bought everything Felberta said. Nux let her choose clothes for him, and Lane did it excitedly. Of course, Nux did not forget to tease with every chance he gets, and their shopping trip that continued throughout the afternoon ended. Name: Felberta Alvaye. Age: 28. Mana cultivation: mortal. Body cultivation: mortal. Occupation: Visicant of Skyfall Kingdom. Race: human. Talent: low. LV: 8. HP: 150 out of 150. STR: 12. AGL: 13. VIT: 15. STM: 13. INT: 12. DEF: 12. My strength increased again. After their night session, Felberta muttered, as she clenched her fist. A few more sessions before you will finally step into beginner mana cultivation stage." Felberta nodded with a smile. She couldn't believe the problem she thought so deeply and gave up was be solved so easily, and the process will be so pleasurable. "Did you succeed in the mission today?" she suddenly questioned. "Are you doubting my skills? The two of them should be talking about it right now," Nux affirmed. Yeah. How can you fail when it comes to seducing an innocent woman? I myself am a victim." "You are really thick-skinned enough to say that when you are grabbing my little brother in your hands, huh?" Nux was right. Just as Skyla and Lane were done with the work and returned to their room, Lane questioned, "Skyla, do you have someone you love?" What? "Do you have someone you love? Someone whose mere mention of his name fills your heart with joy?" Suddenly, Skyla blushed. Lane's eyes widened in surprise as she questioned, "Do you have one?" Skyla nodded embarrassedly. Sister Lane, why are you asking about it?" "Who is it?" Lane questioned without answering her question. She slowly glanced at the black-colored bangle she was wearing. Matching her gaze, she glanced at the bangle on Skyla's hand, and her eyes widened. "Is it Nux?" "Is it Nux?" Skyla slowly nodded her head without raising it. She was too embarrassed to face her. "Skyla, you mustn't!" Suddenly Lane shouted as she grabbed Skyla's shoulders. "Skyla, I know Nux is extremely good-looking and—" She blushed mid-sentence as she glanced at her bangle, "and very caring as well. Although he acts like a pervert sometimes, that also has its charm. He might as well be the most perfect person you could have as your partner." Nobody knew if she was convincing Skyla or just confirming her own thoughts as she continued. "But you mustn't fall in love with him. He belongs to Viscount Felberta." "But no buts. Remember, he belongs to Viscount Felberta. I know it will break your heart. You must have already fallen in love with him by now and must be continuously thinking about him while you work. But you mustn't make a move on him, or it will hurt Viscount Felberta. I'll give you a tip. Remember all the things Sir Alvier has done for us. He is the reason why we have a roof on our heads and good food to eat every day. With how much he has done for us, how can we hurt his beloved daughter like that? No, we are not that selfish. Do you understand?" Nobody knew where the "we" come from. "But, Sister Lane, Viscount Felberta has already agreed." "Good. I knew you—" "What?" "Yes, Viscount Felberta already knows about our relationship and has given her approval." Are you sure?" "Of course. Why would I ever lie to you?" Lane was so shocked by her words that her mouth opened wide. Not only that, but I already belong to Nux." Skyla dropped another bomb as she questioned. "What do you mean?" "My body already belongs to him now," Skyla answered, with her face so red that she looked like a tomato. "Oh, my lord! How? When?" Lane shouted in shock as she questioned. Yesterday was the first time, and today morning was the second." "You did it twice?" Lane screamed in surprise. Somewhere in her heart, a sense of disapproval and dissatisfaction welled in. She wanted to be happy for her sister, but she couldn't. Instead, she was jealous of her. She wanted to throw this feeling away, but she couldn't. "Sister Lane, why don't you consider Nux as your partner as well?" Skyla dropped another bomb as she questioned. "Huh? No, of course not. I would dare not go after your man. We are sisters after all." Lane placed a huge stone on her heart as she replied. "But no, it will not hurt me. On the contrary, it will make me feel good. Sister Lane, you see, I have spent my whole life with you. From what I know, Nux will leave this mansion sooner or later, and I would have to choose between you and him, which would put too much pressure on my heart. Both of you are irreplaceable parts of my life. Please don't make me choose one of you. Sister Lane, just imagine, we two sisters having the same man. We can live together forever along with the man we love. Won't that be so amazing?" Skyla suggested, her eyes glimmering with hope. "And this is for you. This is also my way of saying that I will be there for you. If you ever feel lonely, you can come to me." Suddenly, Nux's words echoed inside her mind, and Lane blushed. She considered Skyla's suggestion and couldn't help but think that it was too attractive. "Sister Lane, tomorrow morning I will be going to Nux's room. Why don't you come with me?" Suddenly, Lane glanced at Skyla as she questioned seriously. "You will have sex with tomorrow as well?" "Of course, we will have sex every day." A sudden emotion welled inside Lane's heart. "I mustn't miss out. I have already lost too much." "Okay, I'll go with you," Lane decided. "Yay! Sister Lane, you are the best!" Skyla jumped in joy and hugged her tightly. "I am not the best, my little Skyla. I am just a selfish person," Lane muttered inwardly, clearly disgusted at herself. "Okay, I'll go with you," Lane decided. "Yay! Sister Lane, you are the best!" Skyla jumped in joy and hugged her tightly. "I am not the best, my little Skyla. I am just a selfish person," Lane muttered inwardly, clearly disgusted at herself. "Okay, I'll go with you," Lane decided. "Yay! Sister Lane, you are the best!" Skyla jumped in joy and hugged her tightly. "I am not the best, my little Skyla. I am just a selfish person," Lane muttered inwardly, clearly disgusted at herself. "Okay, I'll go with you," Lane decided. "Okay, I'll go with you," Lane decided. "Okay, I'll go with you," Lane decided. The next morning, after sending Felberta off to her office, Nux returned to his room, waiting for someone or some people. He didn't have to wait for too long, as the door opened and Skyla walked in. "Oh, Skyla, you're here." "Hmm? Sister Lane, what are you doing here?" Nux questioned in surprise. Hearing his question, Lane blushed before she pinched Skyla's waist, signaling her to explain it to him. "Oh, Nux, I had a request." "You can ask me anything, love," Nux replied gently. Skyla and Lena blushed a little before Skyla continued. "Nux, you see, Sister Lane and I have always been together. When I was thinking about it, I couldn't seem to choose between you two, so that's why I want you to accept Sister Lane together with me. So, in other words, you want me to have sex with both of you at the same time." Before Skyla could even answer, Lane nodded readily. "I am very excited and happy about this offer, but I'm sorry, I can't do that." Nux directly shook his head. Skyla opened her eyes wide in shock. Lane, however, had it worse. Her heart plunged into despair. She thought that everything Nux said to her yesterday was fake, and her whole world crumbled. Her tears welled up inside her eyes, but just before they could fall, Nux's next words pulled her from despair and brought her to heaven. This should be Sister Lane's first time, right? A woman's first time is very precious. I have to give her special attention. Skyla, my love, would you mind leaving the room for a while? You can come back in an hour, and I promise I will make up to you." This should be Sister Lane's first time, right? A woman's first time is very precious. I have to give her special attention. Skyla, my love, would you mind leaving the room for a while? You can come back in an hour, and I promise I will make up to you. "Okay." Skyla sighed in relief before she nodded readily and left the room. After Skyla left, Lane's heart started beating faster. She was now alone with Nux inside his room. She felt a sudden need to say something and opened her mouth. I don't know anything about sex." "Oh, so you can indeed say the word sex." Nux nodded in realization. Lane's face blushed in embarrassment. She then saw Nux walking towards him. The closer he came, the faster her heartbeat rose. "You don't have to worry. Just leave your body to me, okay?" She heard Nux's gentle voice and nodded. She felt Nux's hand on her butt before he carried her in his arms and placed her on the bed. It's really going to happen, Lane thought inwardly. Suddenly, she felt something soft on her lips. She glanced below and saw Nux's lips touching her. She moved her lips a little forward, feeling his lips even more. Then she felt his right hand moving down before directly entering her skirt before reaching her sacred place. The closer it got, the stiffer her body got. She then heard a calming voice that seemed to ease all her insecurities. "You do not have to be so tense. Just relax, okay?" Lane nodded as she took a deep breath and calmed her body. She soon felt his fingers moving her forbidden area sensually. Her body trembled and she could feel her juices building inside her. Then suddenly, a long finger entered her canal, sending a jolt of pleasure into her body. She wanted to moan, but at the same time, a wet something entered her mouth and started fighting her tongue for dominance. Since she was already facing so many attacks at the same time, her tongue lost without much of a fight. Soon, another finger entered her cave. Again, she wanted to moan, but her mouth was already dominated by his, so only a muffled moan was released. The two fingers started exploring her cave. The pleasure she felt already surpassed the pleasures she even thought was humanly possible to feel. Unable to moan, her body found another way to show how good it felt. Her back arched up and her eyes rolled up. It feels so good. As if understanding her plight, he freed her already defeated mouth, allowing her to moan to her heart content. Soon she felt his giant mountains being freed. She felt an otherworldly wave of pleasure assaulting her body as soon as his wet tongue then started licking her already erect nipple. Her canals tightened and she moaned even more. She felt his tongue stopping for a second before it continued to assault her nipple, sending waves of pleasure all over her body. It didn't a long time before her body finally gave up. Her canal tightened more than ever, and she screamed, "I am coming!" Spurt. She came, drenching his hand with her cum. Moments later, her arched back fell, her eyes balls that weren't visible returned, and her large breast moved up and down as she started breathing heavily. Ha, ha, ha. As just she thought that pleasure couldn't get any better, she felt something that was not his hand or fingers touching her canal. She slowly opened her tired eyes and saw a huge dick, which she has seen being drilled into Viscount Felberta's pussy, standing proudly in front of her entrance. "All right, next jump to the next stage," she heard a voice, but before she could reply, his little brother's head already entered her little sister, and she moaned, It might hurt a little. Be brave, 'kay?" Lane's mind wasn't really clear. Her body just knew that it had to nod at whatever this man said, and it did that. Lane was then jolted awake by the sudden pain she felt, but before she could even register it, another wave of pleasure entered her body through her breast, more specifically her nipple. She glanced down and saw Nux biting her nipple, sending shivers to her body. Ah! With this weird combination of pleasure and pain she was feeling, Lane moaned weirdly, but soon the pleasure overwhelmed her pain as she could feel her nipple being sucked on by Nux while being licked by his tongue inside his mouth. Ah! Her body quivered in pleasure as her pussy released her love juice uncontrollably. Her tight cave loosened a little, allowing his dick to move. Soon, she felt the dick that has invaded her pussy moving. After a few little back-and-forth moves, his rod moved back, nearing the entrance before directly drilling into her deepest parts. Ah! She could feel him repeating the same move, drilling it even deeper this time. Ah! The process started getting smoother as Nux increased his pace while exploring deeper and deeper. Lane continued to moan in delight. The pain she felt was long since overwhelmed by the huge amount of mind-numbing pleasure that assaulted her body. Her back arched up again, eyes rolled back, and she continued to moan while being drilled by his rod mercilessly. It feels so good. Nux was also trying his best not to moan in pleasure. Her pussy was unusually tight, and his both hands played with her plump and large breasts, while he drilled deeper and deeper. He could then feel his dick twitching. Knowing that he was about to come, he pinched and pulled her nipples. I'm coming again," she moaned loudly. Her pussy walls tightened to a ridiculous degree, and her love juice drenched his dick. Not able to take the pleasure anymore, he grunted, and his milk burst out. Ding. Mission accomplished. Just as he painted her walls white, a huge amount of energy entered his body, revitalizing his body. A screen appeared in front of him, announcing the mission being accomplished. Mission: fuck Lane Wine. Description: well, fuck Lane Wine. Reward: 10 system points. Warning: if the mission fails, the ability Craving Touch will be disabled. Time limit: 15 days. 8 days left. Mission status: completed. The reward will be sent to System Inventory. Name: Nux Leander. Age: 18. Mana Cultivation: Beginner. Body Cultivation: Beginner. Race: Human. Talent: Low. LVL: 17. HP: 370 out of 370. MP: 250 out of 250. STR: 42. AGL: 49. VIT: 45. STM: 46. INT: 29. DEF: 41. Blank points: 72. Ability: Craving Touch and Eye of Discerning. Harem members: Felberta Alve, Skyla Hale, Lane Wine. Since Lane was still tired, he did not force her to go for the second round. There was still some time before Skyla returned. Nux sat cross-legged before he looked at another feature he got a day ago. System Shop. Cultivation Techniques. 1-star Cultivation Techniques, 100 system points. 2-star Cultivation Techniques, 200 system points. 3-star Cultivation Techniques, 500 system points. 4-star Cultivation Techniques, 1,000 system points. 5-star Cultivation Techniques, 2,000 system points. 6-star Cultivation Techniques, 5,000 system points. 7-star Cultivation Techniques, 10,000 system points. There were still more, but Nux quickly decided to ignore them and move to the next columns. Skill Books. 1-star Skill Books, 10 system points. 2-star Skill Books, 20 system points. 3-star Skill Books, 50 system points. 4-star Skill Books, 100 system points. 5-star Skill Books, 200 system points. 6-star Skill Books, 500 system points. 7-star Skill Books, 1,000 system points. Weapons. 1-star Weapons, 10 system points. 2-star Weapons, 20 system points. 3-star Weapons, 50 system points. 4-star Weapons, 100 system points. 5-star Weapons, 200 system points. 6-star Weapons, 500 system points. 7-star Weapons, 1,000 system points. Abilities. 1-star abilities, 100 system points. 2-star abilities, 200 system points. 3-star abilities, 500 system points. 4-star abilities, 1,000 system points. 5-star abilities, 2,000 system points. 6-star abilities, 5,000 system points. 7-star abilities, 10,000 system points. Current system points, 20. Nux could see a few other sections, but they were locked, and he couldn't even read what they were, so he decided to ignore them as well. So this is where I can use my system points, Nux realized, but when he saw the price, he quickly backed off. He didn't even have enough money for a 1-star cultivation technique or ability. Not that he needed a cultivation technique, since he already had this cheat, but damn, it was expensive. The skill books and weapons aren't any better either. He would have nothing left if he bought 2 1-star skills or weapons. Nux then shook his head and decided that he would just talk to Felberta and get whatever skills and weapons she had. That way he would be able to save some system points and buy something good later. Of course, that did not stop him from reading about some skill books and abilities, thinking of different ways to use them. He learned that these skill books are like spells a magician has, while these abilities are more like innate power or something, like his craving touch and eye of discerning. Of course, his 2 abilities were very high-leveled. At least, he didn't find something of similar use in the 1, 2, or 3-star ability section. He didn't dare venture deeper, as 1,000 system points were still a pipe dream for him. Time passed, and soon Skyla entered the room with a big smile on her face. "Sister Lane is sleeping, huh? I guess she was too tired just after 1 session." "Heh, it is not like you are anything better. You always pass out after I come inside you." I was inexperienced back then. I can guarantee I have improved now." What back then are you talking about? Didn't you pass out just yesterday?" "Yesterday was yesterday. Today is different." We'll see about that." Skyla blushed a little before she walked towards the bed before she fell on top of Nux. Nux then turned around, lying on top of Skyla. Without wasting any time, his hand moved towards her PC, and when he touched her entrance, he noticed that she was already wet. Were you peeping?" I only looked a little before I went back to my room." "And what did you do in your room?" "Nothing." She tried to avoid his gaze. "You so cute, Skyla." Skyla blushed in embarrassment. "All right, since you're already ready, shall we start with the main dish directly?" Nux did not wait any longer. He quickly removed her white panty before he inserted his half-hard dick inside. Her warm insides wrapped around his half-hard dick, caressing him as if eager for it to grow up. After enjoying the pleasure for a while, he started moving rhythmically. Skyla, on the other hand, bit her lips. She wanted to control herself and not moan like she always does. Some maids working in the mansion have already heard her moans. I could hear when they bout that, and it made her too embarrassed. Nux then lowered her uniform, freeing her cute breasts, as he played with them to his heart's content. It did not take long for his dick to harden. Its veins bulged out, going deeper and deeper with every thrust. So good. Ung. Skyla tried to keep her voice down. It started with a little moan, then with a bigger one, and then even bigger before she finally decided that it would be too difficult to complete her task and decided to let go. Her mind was already numbed with pleasure as Nux drilled her rhythmically. She was too busy enjoying the pleasure to think about these minor things like her moans. Yes, she will regret it later. Nux continued his drilling. Skyla's PC was way too soft, and since it had already taken his shape, no point of his rod wasn't tended by her walls, pushing him to cloud 9, his body and mind numbed with pleasure. Ugh! It did not take long for fresh milk to build up. Then he grabbed her perky butt and filled her insides with his jizz. So good! Skyla shouted. Her canals tightened before her PC drenched his long rod with its juices. Nux took a deep breath and felt a familiar energy entering his body. Just as he was about to lie down, he heard another voice calling him. Hey, don't leave me out.
Hey, don't leave me out. I want to join as well, Lane said sleepily as she crawled towards the pair. She was sleeping soundly when she started hearing loud moans. Her dreams turned into wet dreams, and soon she woke up. The moment she woke up, she saw Skyla being drilled by Nux mercilessly as she moaned in ecstasy. Lane also noticed that Skyla's face was very close to Viscount Felberta's. The sight turned her on while she pondered how could Skyla show such an indecent face. Of course, she didn't know that she had a similar expression just an hour ago. Seeing her crawling towards him while her huge breasts hanging down, swaying back and forth, Nux felt his dick twitching again. It didn't take a long time for his rod to stand proudly again, ready for another round. Since you want it so badly, why not? Of course, even he was tired after ejaculating so many times, but the energy he received after he came inside Skyla helped him recover a bit. Also, seeing her huge mountain swaying like that, as if needing attention, was another boost to his will. He believed he shouldn't turn her down no matter what. I want to join as well. Suddenly, he heard another voice. He glanced at Skyla, who was lying on the bed, as he questioned, "Aren't you tired?" "Didn't I say that I was too inexperienced back then? I can go for another round without a problem now," Skyla replied with a smug smile. Nux glanced at her before he glanced at Lane, and suddenly a thought made him excited. Am I going to have the legendary threesome? Damn! I became one of those characters that my previous virgin self was jealous of. Thinking that, he smiled, as he replied, "Then you are welcome to join as well. All right, from now on, you two shall listen to me, and I promise I will fuck you to the 9th heaven." The girls blushed in embarrassment. They couldn't believe how bold he was to say indecent things like that out loud. However, when they saw him waiting for their reply, the two of them nodded. All right, now the placing. As a certified virgin and a man of culture, Nux had watched enough source materials to know what he can do to make them feel the most pleasure. Of course, since this was his first time as well, he was a little nervous too, but he quickly hit it and continued confidently. "Lane, now crawl over here, place your ass on Skyla's face, and place your mouth in between her thighs," Nux ordered. Lane blushed before she nodded with a determined look and crawled over to them. The sight of her breasts jiggling was a huge turn-on for Nux. Even though her movements were a little stiff, she quickly placed herself as Nux told. All this while, hers and Skyla's faces were red like a tomato. "All right, now continue licking your sister's little sister until I tell you to stop, 'kay?" Lane nodded before she licked Skyla's pussy for the first time. Her body was trembling in nervousness and some excitement. She imitated Nux's fingers as she licked the surroundings slowly before she inserted her tongue inside. And Skyla's pussy was already a little sensitive since she had just come, therefore she moaned in pleasure when Lane's tongue entered her cave. Good. Don't forget to tease and knead her butt from time to time. Do it just like I knead your milky breasts. Lane did as she was told, as her hands grabbed Skyla's perky butt. Skyla's moan already filled her with some weird sense of satisfaction. Right now, she was even more excited to continue what she was doing. Her nervousness transformed into excitement and thrill. And Skyla's moan was abruptly stopped as a huge rod was placed on her forehead, nose, and lips. As if controlled by some force, her lips moved forward automatically, planting a small kiss that looked more like a kiss of submission. And furf! The dick's strong scent assaulted her nose. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Look closely how it enters and pleasures your sister's little sister, 'kay? Skyla nodded as she opened her eyes. The sight of a huge dick placed right above her eyes made her tremble with excitement. Her pussy leaked her juices endlessly. Excitement. By the sudden influx of fresh juice, Lane was surprised, but then she started drinking her sister's juices greedily as if it was the most delicious thing in the world. Her hand movement quickened, sending waves and waves of pleasure inside Skyla's body. Skyla wanted to moan, but since her lips were busy kissing Nux's dick, she couldn't and let out a weird sound instead. Nux then started rubbing his dick in front of Lane's entrance. Lane's body trembled in excitement. She wanted to stop her tongue and moan, but was stopped as she heard Nux's order. "Don't stop your tongue till I say otherwise, 'kay?" Lane nodded without stopping, showing how obedient of a girl she was. Her fresh juice leaked out of her pussy, and Nux smiled as he glistened his dick with her juices, preparing to enter and conquer her insides. Suddenly, he felt a jolt of pleasure coursing through his body, and he looked down. Skyla, since she couldn't kiss and lick his dick anymore, she shifted her mouth to the next target, his balls. She kissed and licked them a little before she gobbled them up and started sucking. Good. Nux smiled as he praised, before he turned to Lane's ass and drilled his dick right into her in one go. Lane's body jolted in pleasure as Nux drilled his dick into her. Since she wasn't allowed to stop licking her sister's little sister, she let out a muffled moan and tightened her grip around Skyla's perky butt. This sends another jolt of pleasure into Skyla's body as she intensified her sucking, increasing Nux's pleasure. Impressed by the cycle of pleasure he created, Nux smiled before he pulled his dick backwards and then smashed it right into her. He then repeated this again, then again, and again before his movements turned smoother and caught a rhythm. The more he pounded Lane, the more pleasure she felt, and she tightened her grip around Skyla's ass, sending more pleasure inside Skyla's body, causing her to suck even more. "Ah, this feels so good," Nux grunted in pleasure, before his eyes fell on Lane's huge breasts, swaying back and forth in rhythm with his drilling. They looked extremely soft. It was as if they were enticing him to grab them. He bent down, placed his head on her back, and grabbed her mountains as he started playing with them. Ah! As the pleasure she was feeling exploded, Lane stopped her licking and squeezing and moaned out loud. This caused the cycle to stop,
Nux, of course, wasn't exactly happy with it. He smiled as he slowed his thrusting before stopping. Lane's body trembled in frustration. She wanted to ask why he stopped, but soon heard her answer. "I said don't stop until I tell you to." Lane nodded before she quickly started licking Skyla's pussy and kneading her butt. She didn't waste time telling him how good it felt or anything. She just wanted him to start his pounding as soon as possible. Nux, of course, did what she wanted, and the cycle continued. As he kneaded her breasts, he remembered that her weak point was the same as Felberta's. He wondered if the women who have larger breasts have the same weak point, but he quickly threw that thought out as another, far better thought entered his mind. He smiled evilly before he pinched Lane's nipples. This time Lane did not repeat her mistake and continued licking while her canals tightened. But Nux wasn't done. He quickly started pulling her nipples as if he wanted to tear them apart. Lane's body jolted due to this weird sense of pain and pleasure. Her canals tightened more than ever. To not moan out loud, she started sucking Skyla's pussy intensely, causing her to suck on Nux's balls even more strongly. "Ooh, I'm coming." The stimulation was too much for Nux to bear. His milk burst out, painting all Lane's insides in white, while he pinched her pink nipples even harder. "Man!" As if her last defense was broken, Lane orgasmed like there is no tomorrow. Her whole body trembled before turning weak and she passed out. Nux's face twitched when he saw her passing out like that. He wanted to pass out too, but he still had to go for another round. He glanced down, and when he saw Skyla licking and sucking on his dick, trying to keep it as hard as possible, and his heart turned warm. So what? It's just one round. With the energy I received from Lane, I believe I can make it, he thought inwardly as he glanced at Skyla again. He had to admit, Skyla licking and sucking his dick's head drenched with his and Lane's juices, while his balls laid on her hairline, his dick laid on her forehead, her nose, all the way to her mouth, was really turning him on. He enjoyed her service a little more before he chuckled. "Skyla, my love, don't worry, I am not leaving you behind and unsatisfied." Skyla stopped her sucking and her face turned red. "That's not it." Nux chuckled again before he placed the sleeping Lane to the side, before he turned and placed his hard and sensitive dick right in front of Skyla's entrance. He looked at her face before smiling as he directly shoved his dick inside. "Ah!" Skyla moaned as her body twitched in pleasure. After all the teasing and licking Lane did, her body was a lot more sensitive than Nux thought. With just one thrust, her body arched up, her eyes rolled back, and her small tongue popped out. Nux smiled as he pulled his dick before shoving it again. "Ah!" Then he thought of something and placed her legs on his shoulder and shoved his dick into her again. This way he entered her deepest area, the one that he never entered before. "Ah!" Skyla was jolted awake by the sudden influx of pleasure, but before she understood what happened, Nux started his pounding, fucking her to the ninth heaven. "Ah! Ah! Ah!" She moaned uncontrollably. Her body was already numb, especially her thighs. Nux didn't have it any better either. His dick was already sensitive after coming so much. As he entered deep inside her cave, the tightness made him numb. Then Skyla's pussy tightened even more as the pleasure she was feeling increased. He was already trying his best to hold out for a second longer. Right now he wanted nothing more than to feel her cave tightening, signaling that she was about to come. His mind moved as he thought of different ways to make it happen before an idea came into his mind. He raised his hand high in the air before, pat, he slapped her butt. Feeling her butt tightening, he slapped again, and then again. Pat, pat, pat. Skyla, who was already on cloud 9, felt another wave of painful but immense pleasure assaulting her body. Her body jolted as her walls tightened before... She came. Right when her juices drenched his dick, he let go and another burst of milk was shot from his little brother. Right after he came, streams of energy entered Nux's body, and a bunch of messages appeared in front of him, but he was too tired to bother with them and directly passed out in Skyla's embrace. Of course, Skyla wasn't any better either. Right after she came, she passed out as well. Nux! Time passed quickly, and Nux heard a voice as he slept. Nux! 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 Slowly, the soft voice turned into a shout that pierced his ears as he retorted in anger. What? But when he saw who was calling him, his anger turned down. He smiled wryly and questioned in a sleepy voice. Fel, what happened? Yes, the one who was calling him was the Viscount, Felberta. Skyla and Lane were already standing behind her, their faces tinged with red. Do you know what time it is? Fel questioned. Nux glanced at the window and saw the sun shining brightly. He smiled wryly as he understood that it was already afternoon. Fel, my love, I am really too tired for our afternoon session. Please forgive me this one time. I will definitely make it up to you in the future. How about this? Tomorrow is your day off, right? How about I spend my entire time with you tomorrow? Nux offered. Felberta, on the other hand, frowned before she quickly understood that he misunderstood her intention for coming here. Although she did come here to complain here initially, she understood what happened and just wanted to ask if he wanted to have lunch. She didn't come here to get compensation. Of course, she was a little disappointing since she missed her afternoon session, but she has already made up her mind and knew something like this might happen in the near future. Of course, her mood improved when she heard his offer. She had no intention to clear this misunderstanding. Having him all to herself for a whole day was an offer worth lying. Since I am so gentle and forgiving, I will let you off for today, but do remember your promise tomorrow. Also, lunch is ready. Eat before going back to sleep. Nux nodded with a smile. He then planted a kiss on Felberta's face before he walked towards the dining room. After he had his lunch, he walked back into his room and slept. Seeing him like that, Felberta glanced at the two maids as she chuckled. You really dried him out, huh? The two of them blushed in embarrassment. Seeing this, Felberta smiled before she continued. Tell me, how was it? Did you feel good? How did it feel to suck each other's love juices? The more she questioned, the more she blushed. The Viscount enjoyed teasing her new sisters and her future faction members. After a few hours, Nux finally woke up. He still felt a little tired, but it wasn't as bad as before. He then looked at his body and could see that his muscles were more defined than before. He clenched his fist and felt an enormous amount of power welling inside his body. He suddenly remembered the bunch of messages that appeared in front of him right before he passed out. He thought about it, and those messages reappeared again, accompanied by his favorite ding sound. Congratulations to the host for rising to an advanced stage monocultivator from a beginner stage monocultivator. INT +5. Blank points +10. Congratulations to the host for rising to advanced stage body cultivator from a beginner stage body cultivator. STR +3. AGL +3. VIT +3. STM +3. DEF +3. Blank points +5. System inventory unlocked. Name Nux Leander. Age 18. Monocultivation Advance. Body cultivation, advance. Race, human. Talent, low. Level, 17 to 20. HP, 540 out of 540. MP, 370 out of 370. STR, 42 out of 51. AGL, 49 out of 58. VIT, 45 out of 54. STM, 46 out of 55. INT, 29 out of 37. DEF, 41 out of 50. Blank points, 72 out of 96. Ability, Craving Touch, Eye of Discerning. Harem members, Felberta Alvi, Skyla Hale, Lane Wayne. "Damn, I'm strong!" Nux exclaimed in surprise and excitement. Just as he was about to stand up and leave, another message popped up. Quest system unlocked. Current quests. Kill a 1-star beast. Reward 1 system point. Accept, yes, no. Kill a 2-star beast. Reward 2 system points. Accept, yes, no. Kill a 3-star beast. Reward 5 system points. Accept, yes, no. Kill a 4-star beast. Reward 10 system points. Accept, yes, no. Kill a 5-star beast. Reward 20 system points. Accept, yes, no. Kill a 6-star beast. Reward 50 system points. Accept, yes, no. Kill a 7-star beast. Reward 100 system points. Accept, yes, no. Note, there is no limit to how many star beasts you kill. You will keep gaining the rewards mentioned above. Also, there is no penalty or time limit for these quests. A quest system. This is just like missions, but more convenient. Cool. Then Nux began to think. Should I accept these quests? I can gain system points if I complete this. Not only that, but I will also gain some fighting experience. Right now, I'm just a brute with strength without any skill to back it up. If it comes to real fights, I might even lose to someone weaker than me. Although I don't need much strength now since I'm very safe right now, the same can't be said for the future. This is a world that revolves around strength. Being weak here is a crime. I should not take it lightly even if I have this cheat. Rather, now that I have this cheat, I should use it to the best of my abilities and live a longer, happier life. Thinking about all this, Nux decided to accept this quest. Of course, he wasn't planning to leave until he strengthens Felberta's cultivation to the advanced stage. For the next 10 days, Nux lived a fulfilling life. The morning started with a hot bathing session with Felberta. After that, he spent time with Skyla and Lane. Sometimes he had a threesome, and sometimes the two of them took turns. In the afternoon, he had Felberta in lunch. He spent time with Felberta. After teasing Skyla and Lane for a while, he spends time reading and learning more about this world. He knew information is the key, and that he had to force himself to study about this world and gain some knowledge. Yes, he had learned how to read, and surprisingly, it only took him 5 days to do it. He credited this fact to his increased intelligence. In the night, he has another round with Felberta as he ended the day. Yes, he was a little biased towards Felberta since she was his first woman, and Skyla and Lane were also busy whenever he was free, so he couldn't spend as much time with them as he spends with Felberta. Of course, the more time he spends with his girls, the stronger he got. Name: Nux Leander. Age: 18. Mana cultivation, advance. Body cultivation, mortal. Race: human. Talent: low to medium. LVL: 20 to 24. HP: 620 out of 620. MP: 410 out of 410. STR: 51 to 59. AGL: 58 to 66. VIT: 54 to 62. STM: 55 to 63. INT: 37 to 41. DEF, 50 to 57. Blank points, 96 to 108. Ability, craving touch. Eye of discerning. Harem members, Felberta Alve, Skyla Hale, Lane Wine. Of course, the one with the highest progress was Felberta. Even she was surprised how quickly she rose to a level that others spent their whole life reaching. Name, Felberta Alve. Age, 28. Mana cultivation, advance. Body cultivation, mortal. Occupation, Viscount of Skyfall Kingdom. Race, human. Talent, low. LVL, 6 to 22. HP, 290 out of 290. MP, 360 out of 360. STR, 10 to 26. AGL, 11 to 27. VIT, 13 to 29. STM, 11 to 27. INT, 10 to 36. DEF, 10 to 26. With this, I can finally leave and go to the Blood Hill Wilderness. He has learned quite a few things about this world. This world only has one continent, which was around 6,000 kilometers far if you match the two opposite ends. 4 kingdoms ruled this continent, namely the Skyfall Kingdom, where Nux lives, the Kingdom of Skadi, the Solid Earth Kingdom, the Woods Dynasty. There were a few cultivation sects, but they were too weak in front of these large kingdoms and could only continue to exist if they submit to one of the kingdoms. These 4 kingdoms were surrounded by the Blood Hill Wilderness. No one knew how deep or wide it was, but from what little information people of this world had gained, they divided it into 3 levels: the outer area, the inner area, and the forbidden area. The outer area was occupied by 1 to 3 star beasts. The inner area was occupied by 3 to 5 star beasts. As for the forbidden area, well, it was forbidden to enter, so no one knows about it. 100 years ago, the king of Solid Earth Kingdom thought that there must be some sort of treasure in the forbidden area, and he prepared a huge army to find it. The army was accompanied by the 2 strongest experts of the kingdom, but the only survivor of this expedition was the bloody soldier who returned with a torn arm and a bloody note that said, "Never enter the forbidden area." The king tried to talk to the survivor, but he was already psychologically affected and wasn't able to answer anything at all. He just mumbled a few muffled sentences. Only a few words could be recognized. 2 of these were killed and too strong. The whole incident had a major impact on the Solid Earth Kingdom. From being the 2nd strongest, it fell to the last and is still not able to recover. After that, no one dared to enter the forbidden area anymore. Of course, Nux wasn't even planning to enter the inner area, let alone the forbidden one. Thinking about this, Nux stood up as he walked out of his room. Just as he exited his room, he saw Felberta, Skyla, and Lane looking at him worriedly. "Do you really have to go to Blood Hill Wilderness?" Felberta questioned. "You know I have to. I may be strong, but I still don't have any fighting experience. You know how this world is. The stronger you are, the more freely you live. So I have to do this to fulfill my dream," Nux replied gently. "Take care of yourself. Don't do anything rash and endanger your life, okay?" Skyla muttered. "Don't worry. I'm too much of a coward to do something rash. I'm really confident in running away," Nux smiled. Lane didn't say anything, but you could see that she was really worried. The 3 ladies wanted to come with him, but he directly rejected them. He wouldn't be able to use his strongest skill, running away, if they followed him. "Have you kept everything I gave you? Your sword, your armor, healing potions, mana potions, and the skill books?" Felberta questioned. "Don't worry, I have kept everything. Although I will repeat what I said before. The armor you gave, yeah, I don't care. Nothing is more important than your life. If you came back with broken armor, rather than being mad, I would be happy that it could be used to save you. I can always buy new armors, no problem. But that is a 3-star armor. That's your family treasure. You can't buy it with money. Yeah, the same thing. Felberta completely ignored his words and waved her hands nonchalantly before her expression turned serious. Just come back safely, okay? Mm-hmm. Nux smiled as he kissed her soft lips. He then repeated the same thing action with Skyla and Lane. I'll be back soon. The three nodded as they accompanied Nux outside the mansion. Nux waved his hands as a farewell sign as he walked away. As Nux was walking toward the wilderness, he smiled when he remembered their worried looks and shook his head. He was really lucky to have them. He then sorted the other things he gained in these last few days. First, the skill books. As a viscount, Felberta had 4 1-star skill books, each belonging to different elements. These skill books were given to her most loyal and trusted subordinates. As for what element skill they receive, it depends on their elemental affinity. Skyla, for example, had a medium-rank wind affinity, and Lane had a medium-rank earth affinity. Therefore, the two of them received the Gale Steps and Earth Fists techniques, respectively. When Nux's talent was examined, it showed that he had low level with all the basic elements, which was not enough for him to cultivate any of these skill books. However, 2 days later, Nux requested to test himself again, and surprisingly, it showed that now he had a medium-level affinity with every basic element. Nux understood how it worked. The talent in his system doesn't represent the cultivation speed. It shows the level of affinity a person has to a certain element. At first, he indeed had low-level talent, but after a few sessions with Skyla and Lane, he gained their talent as well. He first concluded that the talent drop rate was low, therefore he didn't get it in just one session. But now he learned that it was not that the drop rate was low. He was receiving his talent from the first time they had sex, but the system was distributing it to all his elements simultaneously, hence slowing the process. So right now, he had 4 1-star skill books, a 2-star sword, a few mana and healing potions, and a 3-star armor in his inventory insight. This all would have cost him 110 system points. He cannot buy potions from the shop yet, if not for his Felberta. Of course, he also used all his system points to buy a 2-star body cultivation skill, the 9 strikes of sword, from the system. Yes, he bought a body cultivation skill because his body was 2 times stronger than a normal cultivator. Also, body cultivation skill books were already very rare in this world, so he would be able to surprise his opponent at the last moment. Not only that, he also found that unlike the normal skill books where he has to read and decipher everything on his own, the skill books bought from the system could already be cultivated to the beginner stage after buying it. The levels of mastery of a skill book go by novice, beginner, small achievement, big achievement, master, perfection, and finally, assimilation. And he was already at the beginner stage. Nux smiled as he again realized how awesome his system is, and then he activated his Steps of Gale and increased his speed. The Blood Hill Wilderness was on the outskirts of the kingdom, where they live in the capital city. The journey was roughly around 700 kilometers far. If he took the carriage, it would take him about a day to reach there, but he wasn't planning to. He was planning to train his speed using this chance and wanted to reach there within 3 to 4 hours while running non-stop. Of course, it wouldn't be too hard on him if he failed to achieve it, but he would try his best. All right, let's start. Nux roared excitedly after he left the capital city. He stretched his legs and then his back before jumping a little. He then looked above. It was already 4 p.m. The sun was still shining brightly, but he knew in just an hour or so it would set. He sighed as he started running. Huh. Nux breathed heavily as he finally reached the last town before his destination. It was already 10 a.m. when he reached here, and he wasn't dumb enough to directly enter this dangerous forest without any rest. And yes, he failed to achieve his goal by 2 hours, but that wasn't his fault. He completely ignored the time he would have to line up to enter the city gates.
He even felt that he had to stay in a city for a night before coming to the wilderness. But the farther away he moved from the capital city, the lesser and lesser the city gates appeared. In the end, he didn't even have to stop, and crossed 4 cities in one go before reaching here. This town was called Clover Town. Since this town was closest to the Blood Hill Wilderness and was constantly attacked by star beasts, the people have already abandoned it, and the only people staying here were adventurers that came here to hunt the star beasts. Nux walked towards an inn. He booked a room before taking a bath since he was too sweaty after running. He sighed in relief as he jumped into the bed and slept. Author notes, "Yeah, I know, kind of a boring chapter. I felt the same. I just rushed it since it wasn't important. I wasn't planning to extend his trip for 3 to 4 chapters or something. Let's just get over the boring part." Grrr. The next day, Nux was standing frozen stiff in front of a ferocious-looking tiger with fresh blood dripping from its mouth. He was wearing a silver-color armor that covered his chest and was holding a long sword in his hands that were shaking non-stop. From his pale expression, it was clear that he was frightened out of his wits. What happened? Well, nothing in particular. After checking out of the inn, he entered the forest in high spirits, but soon he encountered this ferocious-looking tiger that was glaring at him with menacing eyes, and he was frozen in fear. It wasn't that the tiger was too strong or something. Rather, this tiger was one of the weaker creatures in this wilderness, a 1-star beast, but Nux was still frightened by how scary it looked. You can't blame him either. Just a few days ago, he was just a normal man who would be scared even if a street dog barked at him. How can someone expect him to fight against these scary-looking monsters? He was stronger and learned a few techniques, right? But you don't go fighting animals in a jungle after learning some martial arts, right? When it saw how scared this human in front of him was, the tiger smiled even more menacingly. It would have a delicious meat today as its breakfast. Without thinking any further, he quickly dashed towards Nux with its eyes shining brightly. Roar! A huge mistake. What the tiger did was a huge mistake on its part. It might have been better if it had walked towards Nux slowly and intimidatingly, but now that he dashed towards Nux, his expression changed a little. Too slow. Nux thought inwardly, slowly starting to gain some confidence. He quickly activated his Eye of Discursion, and all the information about this tiger appeared in front of his eyes. Gale Tiger. Cultivation, 1-star beast. Level 13. HP 180/190. STR 20. AGL 21. VIT 19. STM 20. DEF 19. I'm at least 3 times stronger than this beast, Nux thought inwardly before his eyes fell on the beast. Seeing the delight and mockery in its eyes, he panicked a little before he quickly regained his confidence as he looked at its stats. "What are you acting so confident for?" Then the tiger jumped at Nux. Nux also raised his sword before stabbing it down in a crude way. There were no traces of his 9 strikes of sword that he practiced before. The sword stabbed right through the tiger's nape, pinning it on the ground. Roar! It roared in pain. It still did not have any idea how or when this weak human stabbed his sword through his body. He glanced up and looked into Nux's eyes to make sure if it was him or someone else who sneak attacked it from behind. Another big mistake. Seeing that the beast still hadn't died, Nux panicked. He did not think about removing his sword and stabbing it again. Instead, his most primal instincts kicked in. He raised his leg and stumped on the poor beast's face mercilessly. Roar! 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 Grr! Grr! The translated version. How dare you kick me? You dare kick me again? Please don't kick me. Please, I am begging you, just stab your sword and end me. Why to humiliate me like that? Of course, Nux didn't know what it said or wanted to say. Neither did he care. He kept attacking until he could hear him roaring or growling. Ding! It is detected that the host has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Damn!
It was harder than I thought, Nux thought inwardly. His heart felt like it was about to burst out by how fast it was beating. He took a deep breath as he calmed his racing heart before glancing at the messages that appeared in front of him. Wind affinity. Was that because I killed the Gale Tiger? Does that mean I will gain more affinity to a certain element if I kill a star beast of a certain element? That's cool. But I need to calm down. I was lucky that this beast I encountered wasn't that strong, or else I would have been in trouble. I should find some one-star beasts and practice the skills I have learned and also get used to this blood. Of course, as a normal human, he hasn't witnessed this huge amount of blood before, let alone the being the cause of it. He then glanced at the Gale Tiger's body. He picked up his sword and waved his hand as the body disappeared into his inventory. Although the body isn't that valuable, he wasn't dumb enough to leave free resources. No sane man would reject extra cash. He then moved forward and soon he found another beast. Earth Bear. Cultivation, 1-star beast. Level, 12. HP, 160/180. STR, 20. AGL, 18. VIT, 18. STM, 17. DEF, 21. Another 1-star beast. This should be easy since I can make the first move. Right now, this bear was enjoying its prey, not knowing its impending doom. Nux activated his Steps of Gale. It was the technique he had most control of, other than the 9 strikes of sword. He could feel it reaching closer to beginner stage after yesterday's run. Nux disappeared before he appeared right before the bear, and without wasting any time, he slashed his sword according to 9 strikes of sword, cutting its head off. The poor bear didn't even know how it died. He couldn't even enjoy its last meal before his head was slashed off. Ding! It is detected that the host has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, Earth Affinity. Nux stood there, frozen still, as the blood flowed out of the bear's body like a fountain and fell on his face. He felt nauseating. He wanted to vomit, but controlled himself. He knew this would happen. He knew that he would have to face blood one day or another. He wiped the blood on his face and stored the bear's body into his inventory. To be honest, even Nux was surprised by how quickly he killed the bear. He finally understood why skills were so important to a cultivator. With just 1-star and 2-star skills, his power increased so much. Nux felt a little excited. He wanted to get stronger and stronger. Thinking about it, he then started his search. Ding! It is detected that the host has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Fire affinity, +1. Ding! It is detected that the host has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Water affinity, +1. Ding! It is detected that the host has killed a 2-star beast. Reward, 2 system points. Earth affinity, +2. He continued killing beasts non-stop. Some were sneak attacks, some were one-on-one fights, and sometimes he was even sneak attacked by a beast. But Nux continued fighting and continued growing stronger at a frightening rate. It is said that experience can help you learn what books cannot. As he continued using his skills, he could feel how frighteningly quick he was mastering them. After his 23rd fight, his Steps of Gale was already at the beginner stage, and his other skills were at peak novice stage. He was also very close to the small achievement stage in his 9 strikes of sword. He did not stay at 1-star beasts either. He found that once he was a little experienced, he didn't even need to use his skills to kill them. So after killing around 14 1-star beasts, he shifted to 2-star beasts. Gale Tiger. Cultivation, 2-star beast. LV, 24. HP, 320 out of 320. STR, 33. AGL, 34. VIT, 32. STM, 33. DEF, 31. Right now, he was fighting a 2-star beast, Gale Tiger, that attacked him. Well, one can't call it a fight, it was more like a training drill. This Gale Tiger was just a bigger version of the first beast he killed. Right now, Nux was just practicing his fire-based skill, Fireball, on it, increasing his accuracy and lowering his MP cost. He wanted to increase his mastery of the skill to the beginner stage. However, things never go as one plan. The Gale Tiger's body was already covered with burns and black marks. It already knew that it wasn't this human's match, and it had no intention of becoming his training partner. It quickly turned around and ran away. Or it tried to. When Nux noticed that it was trying to run away, he activated his Steps of Gales and appeared in front of it before slashing its head. You could have lived longer if only you had decided to be obedient and become my training partner. He sighed before he stepped back. After killing so many beasts, although the blood didn't bother him that much, he still wasn't a fan of it and would not allow it to spray on his face if he could avoid it. Ding! 2-star beast killed. I'm changing the notification. It takes too many words. Reward, 2 system points. Fire affinity, +2. As Nux walked after killing another beast, he heard a sound. A river! Nux was pleasantly surprised. He quickly walked toward the direction where the sound came from. Did you see how I single-handedly killed that beast? Yeah, Alden, we know you're strong. Why don't you just sit down and relax? It's still our first day here. We have to stay here for more than a month. Yes, now sit down and fill your water reserves. You guys are no fun. After a while, when he walked closer to the sound of the river, he heard some people talking. His steps quickened before he saw 4 people, 1 woman and 3 men sitting beside the river talking to each other. He quickly hid behind a tree, but before he could observe them with his eye of discerning, a series of notifications rang in his mind. Ding! Ding! Other people's presence detected. It is detected that these people have no enmity towards the host. A party can be formed. Would you like to form a party? Why, N. A party? Is it like teams? This time, though, the system was generous and it quickly explained the party system. Party system. A party can be formed in 2 conditions. 1. If a person is willing to form a party with the host to complete a certain task. 2. If in a hunting ground and someone with no enmity towards the host is detected. The range of the party system is 100 kilometers. Going beyond that, the party will be dismissed automatically. Note, there is no limit to the number of people there can be in a party. What is the advantage of forming a party? Nux questioned, but it seemed that he had already exhausted his luck as the system ignored him like usual. Nux's lips twitched before he smiled wryly and shook his head. Whatever, there is no harm in trying. If something goes bad, I can always run away. He had already looked at their statuses, and although they are strong, 2 of them were even in the master stage, the same stage as Butler Joyab. If Nux decided to run away, there are 0 chances of them catching him. Nux then pressed yes and glanced at their expressions vigilantly. Seeing that there were no changes, Nux smiled and waited. He decided to wait and see the effects of this party system. Also, he needed the water to fill his reserves, so he had nothing against waiting. Of course, he wasn't planning on revealing himself in front of them. Although they don't have enmity, they aren't friendly either. Who knows? The girl in the group might fall for his handsome face, and the guys might turn out to be jealous of him and would want to kill him. Even a handsome face has its fair share of troubles. Grrr! Nux didn't have to wait for long, as a few minutes later, a pack of 12 wolves, led by a 3-star wolf, and 2 2-star wolves appeared in front of them. This was one of the strongest groups in this outer area. If Nux was the one facing this group, he would have run away without thinking anything. He still hasn't fought a 3-star beast, so he still does not know how strong they are. The team's expression turned serious when they saw the wolf pack coming towards them. They quickly stood up, and their weapons appeared in their hands. The brawny-looking man, that also appeared to be the leader of the team, carried a huge shield and ordered, "I will fight with the leader of this pack. Alden, you take care of the 2 wolves following the leader. Oscar, you fight with the rest of the wolves. Don't worry, Annis would help you from behind." Ah, finally, some action. Although I want to fight that leader, I will follow your order and finish these 2 weaklings first. Another muscular-looking man, Alden, answered as a giant axe appeared in his hand, and he slashed his axe at the 2 wolves mercilessly. His attacks carried huge momentum with them. Even the ferocious-looking wolves had to back off and stay defensive under his attacks. The silent-looking man just gave a nod before a sword appeared in his hand, and he rushed towards the rest of the wolves without any fear. His movements were nimble, as he didn't give any chance to any of the wolves to attack him. "Yes, leader." A bow appeared in the hands of the only girl in this group. She was the deciding factor in this group. Her arrows were sharp and precise, as if each arrow released from her bow had a meaning. Her arrows were merciless as they attacked the weak points of those wolves. Their eyes, their ears, their nose, their mouth, no arrow missed. She was so confident in her shots that she didn't even look at the result before shooting another arrow. Grrr! Grrr! Her arrows greatly lessened the pressure the silent man was facing, as he quickly started killing these wolves. Your party member, Oscar Fieldsy, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Your party member, Oscar Fieldsy, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Your party member, Annis Fishmane, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. The more notification appeared in front of his eyes, the brighter his eyes got. I can gain system points even if I'm not the one killing. This is ridiculous. A bug. An absolute bug. Your party member, Alden Stewarts, has killed a 2-star beast. Reward, 2 system points. As Nux was excited, another message appeared in front of his eyes. He glanced at the battlefield and saw that the muscular man with the axe had already killed one of the wolves and was attacking the other without stopping. He glanced at the leader of the group and saw him defending against the attacks of the leader of the pack without much difficulty. It was clear that he only intended to prolong the fight as his team deals with the rest of the wolves. Arrgh! The wolf leader howled in anger when he saw so many of its subordinates dying, and its attack turned ferocious, although it didn't affect the leader that much. Your party member, Alden Stewarts, has killed a 2-star beast. Reward, 2 system points. After Alden killed the remaining wolf, he quickly rushed toward the weaker wolves and started slaughtering them with a wide smile. Your party member, Alden Stewarts, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Your party member, Alden Stewarts, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Your party member, Annis Fishmane, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Countless messages appeared in front of Nux, and his eyes brightened in joy. He was really cheering for the team from his heart. His cheering worked, as they quickly dealt with the remaining wolves and then focused on the leader of the pack. The situation turned around so quickly that even if the wolf leader wanted to retreat, it couldn't. Your party member, Alden Stewarts, has killed a 3-star beast. Reward, 5 system points. Total system points, 68. After killing all the wolves, every member of the team took out a dagger and started skinning the dead bodies, before storing the meat, fur, and teeth. It was clear that they were very experienced by how fast their hands moved. A tank, a warrior, a marksman, and an assassin. A perfect RPG team, Nux praised inwardly. Move your hands, we don't have much time. Too much blood has been spilt. Quickly, wash and let's get out of here, the leader of the team ordered after they took all the loot. The rest of the team nodded, and within 5 minutes, they moved out. As if on cue, 4 2-star beasts appeared in the area. Nux raised his eyebrows in surprise and admiration. Damn, this is what they call experience. He then smiled before he waited for the beast to leave. After filling his water reserves, Nux left the area as well. This time his goal was not to hunt any beasts. He had killed enough for the day. His goal was to find humans he can form parties with. Just now, he got 18 system points without even lifting his finger. It was important to note that he had only collected 50 system points after hunting beasts for a whole day. There is no limit to the number of humans he can form a party with, and the range is 100 kilometers long. If he could form a party with around 10 more teams like the ones he found, how many points would he gain? Many, many points. That's why he called the party system an absolute bug, because that's what it was. Excited, he ran around the wilderness searching for other humans. Since it was already evening, he knew he couldn't wander around for long. After finding and secretly partying with one other party, he found a safe area and lay down. On the next day, he woke up with an eager look. He started his journey to find other humans. Of course, he didn't miss the chance to one-shot any lonely 1- or 2-star beast he could find. They were free system points. He wasn't going to leave them. Your party member, Gage Uptone, has killed a 2-star beast. Reward, 2 system points. Your party member, Lyndon Rake, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. Your party member, Kenelum Brokey, has killed a 1-star beast. Reward, 1 system point. By the afternoon, he had already partied with 5 more teams. He had noticed that this range of 100 kilometers is like a radius with him as a center. If used correctly, the range is around 200 kilometers. Nux was very happy with the huge influx of notifications, but afraid that he might get complacent, he decided to ignore these messages. As if reading his thoughts, no more messages appeared. He frowned and then opened his system to glance at his system points. Noticing that they were still increased, he knew that the system decided to be generous and had hidden these notifications for him. Nux smiled at the thought and continued finding his new points/team players. Ah! Someone, save me! While Nux was walking around, he heard a scream and frowned. He then rushed towards the sound and found a boy who should be around his age, sitting on the ground, his eyes filled with horror as he glanced at the dead body lying beside him. The body was still twitching, indicating that it died recently. He also saw 2 men surrounded by 8 2-star wolves. By their wounds, it was clear that they were in a bad position. Should I save them? Nux thought about it and decided to act. He wasn't a cold-blooded person. If he can save them without getting into trouble, he will help them. Also, they will be his future points/teammates. He wasn't going to let them die. He then activated his Steps of Gale and appeared behind a wolf, slashing its head with 1 slash, before fighting the other. The guard's eyes widened when he saw him appearing out of nowhere. With all his skills on the beginner level, combined with his peak beginner level sword skill, Nux was already strong enough to deal with these wolves alone, and with the 2 guards holding some of them, he quickly killed all the wolves without any problems. "Thank you. My name is Wybert Longe, the son of Marquis Longe of the Skyfall Kingdom," Wybert introduced. Of course. Nux already knew about it due to his eye of discerning. "A Marquis's son? What are you doing here in the wilderness?" "I am here to gain some fighting experience, but I didn't expect someone to die because of me," Wybert replied in a sad tone as he glanced at the dead body of his guard. "You came into the wilderness with just 3 guards?" Nux questioned in surprise. "No, I have more guards, but it was just that the head guard heard some sound coming from there, and he took some men to check it out. We were then attacked by the wolf pack, and this happened." "Oh," Nux raised his eyebrows as he heard that. "Oh, Mr. Savior, I still don't know your name." "It's me, Dio," Nux replied. The head guard, who had to duty to protect the son of Marquis, left because he heard a sound? Not only that, right after he left, the son was attacked by a pack of wolves. If this didn't sound shady, Nux didn't know what did. There was no way he was going to tell him his real name to him. "Oh, Mr. Dio, why don't you join—" "Oh, I am extremely sorry, young master, but I'm about to leave this wilderness, so I can't join you, but I do hope you have a safe and fulfilling adventure." Saying that, Nux ran away. Nux ran away, or so the guards thought. After a while, he returned and hid behind the trees. No, he didn't have any intention to help the boy. Someone was planning to get the son of a marquis killed. On one side, there was a marquis, and on the other was someone who dared to kill Marquis's son. Both of them aren't someone he could afford to offend. Not only him, but even Felberta also might not be safe he offended them. He was even regretting his decision to help the boy initially. Well, what's done was done. He couldn't change it, and just sighed. If he doesn't want to help, why was he back here then? Of course, that is to form a party with the rest of the guards who should be returning soon. Who knows? He might earn some extra points. He didn't have to wait for long as the head guard along with the other guards appeared. If the head guard was surprised to see the boy alive, he didn't show it on his face. He just showed his concern and asked if the boy was safe and acted calmly. Nux was even more scared seeing that. He quickly formed a party and ran away. This time he ran away for real. On one side there was a marquis, and on the other was someone who dared to kill Marquis's son. Both of them aren't someone he could afford to offend. Not only him, but even Felberta also might not be safe he offended them. He was even regretting his decision to help the boy initially. Well, what's done was done. He couldn't change it, and just sighed. If he doesn't want to help, why was he back here then? Of course, that is to form a party with the rest of the guards who should be returning soon. Who knows? He might earn some extra points. He didn't have to wait for long as the head guard along with the other guards appeared. If the head guard was surprised to see the boy alive, he didn't show it on his face. He just showed his concern and asked if the boy was safe and acted calmly. Nux was even more scared seeing that. He quickly formed a party and ran away. This time he ran away for real. Nux continued his search for the whole day as he killed some beasts while he was at it. After forming parties with around 14 teams, he found a relatively safe place and rested for the night. The next day, Nux stood up with a fresh smile. Today, he wasn't going to find any humans anymore. Of course, it was a different case if he found them by chance. He would be stupid if he didn't party with them. Status. Name: Nux Leander. Age: 18. Mana cultivation: Advance. Body cultivation:
Advance. Talent. Medium. Level. 24. HP. 620 over 620. MP. 410 over 410. STR. 59 to 61. AGL. 66 to 69. VIT. 62. STM. 63 to 64. INT. 41. DEF. 58. Blank points. 108. His stats rose again, and this time it wasn't due to a level up. This was all due to his sword skill. Being a body cultivation skill, it didn't require mana, only raw strength. Therefore, the stronger his mastery over the skill, the stronger his strength will be. Therefore, he decided that he was going to raise his mastery of the skill to a small achievement stage within the next few days. He walked towards a group of 4 2-star bears he found and fought them while only using his 9 strikes of sword. Of course, he also used his water shield to prevent blood from falling on him. The more he fought, the more he could feel his mastery over his sword was increasing. His movements turned smoother and smoother, and even his speed increased. His improvement speed was frightening. After defeating the bears, he found another group of 2-star beasts and continued fighting them in the same way. Of course, he wasn't unscathed as well, since he wasn't experienced enough right now, but his wound wasn't that serious, since his armor was very tough. There were just a few scratches here and there, which quickly vanished after he drank the healing potion. For the next few days, Nux continued fighting the same way. From 4 2-star beasts, he fought more than 10 2-star beasts at the same time without many injuries. Even a 3-star beast can't do that. He was now sure that he can fight any 3-star beasts without any problem, but he didn't fight right away and continued fighting 2-star beasts. His 9 strikes of sword has already reached the mid-level small achievement stage. As he has already achieved his goal, he had decided to fight these beasts with just his 4 basic element skills to train them. However, the more he fought, the quicker he found out that training his 4 skills wasn't as simple as his sword skill. He had a limited amount of mana. Although he can force himself with his sheer will if he was low on stamina, he can't do the same with his MP because he would pass out if his MP reaches 0. Of course, he can use mana potions, but Felberta warned him not to use them too much since they contained impurities and might affect his body in the future, so he avoided them as much as possible. This was annoying. Although he can feel his skills improving, the process was really slow compared to his sword skill. It took him 15 days to raise all his skills to the small achievement stage, among which only his Steps of Gale was at a mid-level small achievement stage. However, even with that, he still wasn't able to defeat more than 5 2-star beasts, since these beasts run away as soon as they feel that they can't fight him anymore. Unlike his sword skill, which has the power to deal significant damage in one attack, his attacking skills, Earth Fist and Fireball, weren't as strong. The time it took him to defeat one beast is enough for the rest of them to run away. Nux shook his head dejected. He had to give up. No matter how much he tried, the skills he has are still just 1-star skills. It is difficult to kill 2-star beasts with them. Also, MP wasn't his strong point either. Nux sighed. He had decided to fight with 3-star beasts from tomorrow.
Using Steps of Gale, Nux appeared behind a star bear. He slashed his sword, but unlike how previously the head is hacked off without any resistance, he could only leave a deep wound on its neck. However, Nux wasn't how he used to be either. After 20 days of continuous fighting, his instincts and experience were better than the last time. He quickly stomped his foot and jumped back. Not only that, he even created a water shield in front of him, in case the bear reacted faster than he expected and attacks him. His worries, however, were unfounded. Only when he landed on the ground did the bear finally turn back and attacked. Roar! Damn, a 3-star beast's defense is really something. My sword isn't strong enough to defeat it in one move. Nux muttered as he glanced at the earth bear in front of him. Earth bear. Cultivation. 3-star beast. LVL 33. HP 210 out of 430. STR 44. AGL 42. VIT 43. STM 41. DEF 46. I just need another strike to end him, but I don't think it would be that easy. Nux thought as he glanced at the earth bear that was looking at him with red eyes and a maddened look. It was as if it was ready to fight to the death. Nux looked into its eyes and threw a fireball toward it. Of course, he wasn't trying to hurt it with it. He just didn't want to give him time to rest, even a second. While the bear dodged the fireball, Nux's figure blurred. The bear knew that Nux was too fast for him, and he couldn't block his attacks very well, so he directly covered its wounded neck with its paws. Huh! In the end, you are just a brainless beast. Nux then appeared right in front of it and stabbed his sword right through its heart. Nux was merciless with his moves, even though he understood that now that he pierced its heart, he won't live for long. He still activated his earth fist and punched its nose continuously. Bam! A few seconds later, he retrieved his sword, and the bear's huge body finally fell to the ground. Ding! 3-star beast killed. Reward, 5 system points. Earth affinity, +5. Nux felt overjoyed. It was a 3-star beast, a beast that can rival and even defeat a normal master rank cultivator, and he defeated him without a scratch. He had indeed grown stronger. However, he didn't get complacent. He had a big advantage in this fight since he was the one who attacked first and dealt with so much damage. He will now take on a 3-star beast one-on-one, and later he will fight a group of beasts, just like the wolf pack his first party members encountered a few days ago, alone. 5 days later, Nux sat on top of a huge rock, breathing heavily. Even after wiping it again and again, the traces of beast's blood on his face weren't gone. As he was not injured, since he had recovery potions, the same can't be said about his armor. The original thick-looking silver armor had many dents on it. There were many deep cuts on it as well. Although there were no holes, these deep cuts weren't any different from them either. After washing his face and getting rid of the blood scent, Nux changed his position again and directly lay down on the ground. He was very tired. He had just fought 3 3-star beasts alone. That was the reason why his armor was damaged. Or else, even when fighting with a 3-star beast accompanied by some lower-level beasts, he didn't face many problems. Of course, he gained a lot from this fight. His sword technique rose to the peak-level small achievement stage. The harder you fight, the more you grow. Thinking that, he glanced in the direction of the inner area of the wilderness. A 4-star beast. I should be able to defeat them. Nux smiled inwardly before he stood up and returned to his temporary base and called off the day early. If he was going to do what he was thinking to do, he needs to rest well and do it when he is at his peak. The next day, Nux woke up and stepped into the inner area. 3-star beasts were the weakest here. He has just walked into the area and could already see a group of 5 3-star beasts sitting together. Nux walked further, and before long he found his target. Fiery Flame Lion, Cultivation, 4-star beast, LVL 43, HP 210 out of 430, STR 56, AGL 59, VIT 52, STM 58, DEF 55. A beast with the same size as the lion, but its aura was a lot stronger. Its mane was covered in flames, which gave off an imposing look. Nux used the same old tactic. Activating his steps of Gale, he appeared behind the lion and slashed his sword. This time, however, the beast sensed his attack and moved a little. The attack, which should have hit its neck, only grazed its shoulder. Nux was surprised, not because the beast sensed it, but because the damage his attack caused was very low. It was like a deep scratch. Roar! Roar! The attack with the paws. Nux tried to defend it with his sword, but ching! His sword broke. Fuck! I'm doomed! The lion attacked with its paws. Nux tried to defend it with his sword, but clang! His sword broke and he was sent flying. His body clashed with a tree before stopping. He coughed blood before he glanced at the lion that stood in front of him with a wary look. It hurts. He then looked below and sighed. A hole finally appeared on it. Yes, there was a 10-centimeter hole in his armor. He then glanced at his broken sword that now looked like a dagger. However, before he could think about anything else, a fireball was shot at him. The fireball was a lot stronger than the little one-star parlor trick he uses. It was dangerous. He dodged the fireball and saw the fiery flame lion rushing toward him. Its fighting style is similar to mine. Nux chuckled before he pushed his body to the limit as he activated his steps of Gale and appeared beside the beast. He crouched and, Earth Fist, he punched its balls. Roar! The lion roared in pain, but Nux wasn't done. He moved and stabbed his broken sword and the horn of the 3-star rhino beast into its eyes. Roar! The lion howled in agony as he moved its limbs randomly, hoping to hit Nux, but the said person had already jumped back and was staring at him. The lion had sensed that Nux was not around him. It quickly gave up and decided to run away. Did you really think I will fight fairly after losing my weapon? No way! How do you think I defeated 3 3-star beasts alone? Nux didn't have any plan to let it go. He dashed towards the beast as another rhino horn appeared in his hand, and he directly stabbed it into its leg. Roar! The lion fell, crying in agony. Losing its sight and the ability to run, it knew its end was near. Still, it dragged its body, trying to get away if it can. Nux then removed the rhino's horn from its eyes and stabbed it towards its heart. He knew his sword wasn't strong enough to pierce through its skin, so he directly used a better alternative. Brrr. The fiery flame lion took his last breath before his consciousness fell into darkness. The flames surrounding his mane died down, signaling its end. Ding. 4-star beast killed. Reward, 10 system points. Fire affinity, +10. Nux sighed. He then took out the horns and his broken sword before storing the lion's body in his inventory. This was his last fight in this wilderness for now. With his weapon gone, he had decided to go back home. But he promised in his heart that he will return with better skills and weapons and defeat all the beasts present in this wilderness. Of course, even though he decided to go back, this did not mean that he would get complacent. He quickly left the area and washed his face before getting rid of the bloody scent as much as it was possible. 15 minutes later, he appeared in the outer area, and after another hour of walking, he left the Blood Hills wilderness and walked into Clover Town. However, he soon noticed that people here were avoiding him. Nux frowned, but then he ignored them. He was too tired to care about others. He then entered the same inn he used before and walked towards the counter. The counter has the same person taking care of it, and when his eyes fell on Nux, they widened in surprise. "Wow, are you that person who booked a room a month ago?" "You remember me?" Nux questioned. "Of course I remember every customer's face." "Nice," Nux noted. "But man, you really changed in a month." "Changed?" Nux frowned. "What? Didn't you notice how people are avoiding you?" "I did, but I just thought something happened and ignored it." "So you really didn't notice the bloodthirsty aura surrounding you, huh?" "Huh, the same thing happened to me when I first entered the Blood Hills Mountains, but man, your aura surpasses mine by a huge margin. How many beasts did you kill in there?" Another man laughed as he joined the conversation. "A bloodthirsty aura?" Nux muttered in confusion. "Yes, when you take too many lives in a small amount of time, some changes happen to your aura without you knowing. It becomes more overbearing and lethal. Of course, how much your aura changes depends on your experiences and the number of lives you have taken, and judging by your aura, it must be around 500 if not more." I understand." Nux nodded in understanding. He did kill quite a lot of beasts in these 30 days. "But kid, you look really young. How did you get strong enough to enter and survive in Blood Hills Wilderness alone for a month in such a short time?" Nux smiled at his question as he smiled, and he said, "I plowed real hard." "Well, that's a weird way to say you worked hard." Nux chuckled at his reaction, and then booked his room. After taking a bath, he then walked in front of the mirror while only wearing underwear. "Damn, would you look at that?" Nux praised himself as in the most impressive way possible. This trip was really beneficial to him. His frail body was now lean and muscular. His muscles were tightly packed and dense, without any ounce of extra fat around them. His posture was also a lot better than it was before, giving him an aura of a natural-born fighter. His face looked more chiseled, improving his looks by another level. He was most definitely a charmer. After admiring his looks and muscles for a while, he smiled in satisfaction before jumping into the bed, as he called status. Name, Nux Leander. Age, 18. Mana cultivation, advance. Body cultivation, advance. Talent, medium. LVL, 24. HP, 620 by 620. MP, 410 by 410. STR, 61 to 64. AGL, 69 to 74. VIT, 62. STM, 64 to 67. INT, 41. DEF, 58 to 61. Blank points, 108. Satisfied by his progress, Nux nodded before he smiled in excitement and looked at the biggest gain he got in this trip to the Blood Hills Wilderness. System Shop. System Shop. Cultivation techniques. Skill books. Weapons. Abilities. He directly scrolled over everything before his eyes fell on the most important thing. Current system points. 15,748. More than 15,000. Holy fuck! Nux's eyes widened in surprise, and he smiled widely. "Ha! Ha! 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 Ho! Ho!" He couldn't control himself and laughed out loud. He then moved his eyes towards the Abilities section. 1-star abilities, 100 system points. 2-star abilities, 200 system points. 3-star abilities, 500 system points. 4-star abilities, 1,000 system points. 5-star abilities, 2,000 system points, 6-star abilities, 5,000 system points, 7-star abilities, 10,000 system points, 8-star abilities, 100,000 system points. He didn't think much and directly jumped into 7-star abilities. To be honest, he did calculate a bit and had a rough idea that he might get enough points to buy a 7-star ability. Of course, the results still surprised him, but he calmed himself and directly scrolled to the ability he had his eyes on. Conceal, 7-star ability. Description: when activated, no one will be able to sense the user's presence or see him if the user does not wish for it. Only a cultivator with 3 times more MP than the user can detect the user's presence. Or else, the user can only be detected if he touches or is touched by the user. Note: if the user's killing intent is detected by a cultivator, the effect of the ability, Conceal, would wear off. Price: 10,000 system points. This ability was really good. Not only that, but Nux has also found another ability that would help him turn this ability from good to overpowered. Professional Killer, 3-star ability. Description: a passive skill that controls a user's killing intent to such an extent that it could only be released after the user's attack has landed or has failed to land on the target. Price: 500 system points. A perfect combination, Nux thought inwardly, as he smiled and quickly bought the 2 abilities. He felt a weird power entering and then blending into his body. Nux then suddenly learned how to activate his Conceal ability, and it felt as natural as breathing or moving an arm. The best part, and the reason why Nux bought abilities instead of skills or weapons, was that just like Craving Touch or Eye of Discerning, he didn't need MP to activate them. Yes, if Nux wanted, he could use Conceal for as long as he desired, without feeling anything. That is how scary his ability was. Wanting to test it, Nux activated his newly gained ability and left the room. He went towards the cafeteria, and as expected, no one noticed him. He then picked up a fruit. He thought he would be like an invisible man eating a fruit, scaring everyone here, but to his surprise, no one noticed it. He then walked towards the table where 2 men were sitting. He then picked up the spoon that was there on the man's plate, and although the man frowned a little, he didn't notice anything and picked up another spoon before continuing eating. He then disabled the ability and appeared in front of someone. However, even after activating Conceal again, he was still visible to him. He concluded that if someone has already seen him, then unless he moves out of his sight, he will not be able to activate his ability again. Of course, Nux wasn't complaining about it, since disappearing in front of someone would be a little too ridiculous. This is great, as expected of a 7-star ability. He walked around and did some tests, and double-checked the description of the ability. He even tried to talk to people, but no one replied. He waved his hands, lowered his pants, and even danced in front of others, but no one noticed him at all. He was now sure. As long as he didn't touch or get accidentally touched by someone, no one would be able to see him if he doesn't want it. My days in the wilderness would have been much more comfortable if I had this, Nux thought inwardly as he sighed. Of course, he wasn't planning to return either. He was missing his Fel, Skyla, and Lane. He then returned to his room and laid down as he closed his eyes. But soon he sat up as a thought appeared in his mind. His ability was scary. How tragic was it that you died without even knowing who killed you? how tragic was it that you died while you were sleeping? Or worse, how tragic was it that you died while having sex and were just about to come? Nux shivered as he thought of the last possibility and started searching his ability section. After an hour of intense search, he finally found something he needed. Sense. 5-star ability. Description. When activated, the user will be able to sense everything around him. The range will depend on the user's MP. 1 MP equals 1 meter. Note: the ability will be activated automatically if someone is deliberately hiding his presence and is in the detection range of the user. Note: the ability will fail to detect the presence of a cultivator who is concealing his presence and has 2 times more MP than the user. Price: 2,000 system points. Nux quickly bought the skill, and just like before, he knew how to activate it as if it was the most natural thing to do. He then quickly activated the ability, and suddenly images of everything less than 400 meters around him appeared in his mind. He could even see an ant carrying something huge on its back while walking towards its hole. The images he was seeing were clear, as if he was seeing them with his own eyes. He could zoom in or zoom out however he wanted, and it would still be as clear as it was before. Not only that, he can even hear the images if he wants. That means if he's spying on someone and that person is talking to someone else, he can even hear their conversation as if he's present there. Holy shit! How is it just a 5-star ability? It's so cool!
The next day, Nux woke up at 7. He paid at the counter and checked out. He then activated his conceal skill, and after some stretching, he dashed towards the capital city. This time, since no one could see him, he didn't have to stop and wait at any of the city gates. Therefore, within just 3.5 hours, he appeared in front of Felbriba's mansion. He then directly walked towards the bath and took a long, comfortable bath before he walked into his room and lay down. All this while, no one knew he has returned, not even the maids who he passed through while he was walking towards his room. He decided not to meet Fel, Skyla, and Lane since he wanted to surprise them. He then closed his eyes and looked at his gains. 2 hours later, he stood up, stretched his body, and walked into Felberta's office. He saw the familiar scene of Joyab reporting while Felberta nodding and answering when necessary. He sat on the chair that was placed at the corner of the office and waited for the meeting to end. Since he appeared at the time of lunch break, he didn't have to wait for too long, and he quickly heard Felberta's voice. "All right, we will continue this after the lunch." "As you command, Viscount Felberta." Joyab bowed and walked out of the room. This month, he had been given a lot of surprises. Viscount Felberta's cultivation level suddenly entered the advanced stage, and the speed was so fast that he felt that she was hiding her cultivation through some methods and finally decided to show it. Not only that, even that boy, Nux, had suddenly disappeared, but seeing how calm Viscount Felberta was, Joyab knew that she knew where he was, so he didn't care much about that boy. Although he will say, now that he wasn't here, Viscount Felberta was getting increasingly better at her work, so he was very happy and satisfied. Right after Joyab left, Skyla and Lane walked into the office, and they placed the food on the table. "Viscount Felberta, please eat your food," Skyla spoke in a serious tone. "How many times should I say it? We both belong to the same man now. Can you not call me so stiffly? If not by my name, just call me Sister Felberta or Sister Fel." "I cannot do that, at least for now. You still have your image as a viscount." "I'm at? No, image is important for a noble like you. It won't be good if other nobles learn about your servants calling you by your name. They might look down on you, and it will affect your position and influence." All right, just keep the food here. I'll eat it in a while." Felberta shook her head and gave up. She knew it was too difficult to convince these 2 maids, especially Lane, who was standing behind her and was staying silent.
If it was Skyla alone, she might be able to do it, but with Lane standing behind her, the difficulty was just raised by a few levels. The two maids then left the office. Of course, they weren't gone anywhere, they were just hiding and protecting the Viscount from the shadows. Felberta then stood up and stretched her body. Suddenly, Nux smiled mischievously as he stood up. He walked towards the Viscount and grabbed her from behind before pulling her into his embrace, sitting on her chair and making her sit on his lap. His movements were so fast that the Viscount couldn't react in time, but when she did, she boiled in anger. "What? You bastard! Who are you? How dare you touch me?" She used her full strength to struggle out of his grip, but this person was too powerful. She was completely helpless against him. Felberta continued struggling. She wanted to call for help, but before she did, Skyla and Lane had already appeared. However, right after entering the room, the two just stood there on spot and did nothing. "Skyla, Lane, what are you two doing? Hurry and help me. No, wait, call Joyab. You two aren't strong enough to deal with him," Felberta ordered, but the maids completely ignored her and continued staring in her direction in a daze. "Hey, why aren't you two doing anything? Hurry and call Joyab. I can't stand his touch anymore." "Oh, so should I not touch you then?" Suddenly Felberta heard an extremely familiar voice, a voice she was longing to hear for the past month. She slowly turned around and saw a familiar and extremely handsome face, and was shocked. "Nux? Nux? What, did you forget me in just a month?" "Nux!" Felberta exclaimed in surprise before hugging him tightly. Nux stood up, carrying Felberta in his arms as he glanced at the two maids. "What, are you two just going to stand there? Where's my welcome back hug?" The two maids finally came out of their reverie and dashed towards him at the same time. "Nuts!" Nux smiled in contentment as he was hugged by three beautiful girls. This was pure bliss, the true heaven. Getting stronger and gaining new abilities might feel good, but that feeling is nothing compared to this one. After hugging him for a good 5 minutes, Felberta finally regained her senses and questioned. "Wait, when did you get behind me? No, when did you even enter the office?" "I've been here for a while now," Nux replied. Felberta rolled her eyes, not believing him. She soon forgot her question and asked another, a more important one. "You sure got muscular, huh? I wonder if your weapon changed as well." "Oh, he's been craving for your little sisters for a long time and is aching to meet them." "What a coincidence! Our little sisters is the same as well." "So, shall we begin?" Nux questioned. "Why not?" The three of them answered simultaneously. "Wait!" Just as Nux was about to grab Felberta's butt, Lane exclaimed. Is there something troubling you, Lane?" Nux questioned. "No, you have just returned and must have worked hard for so long. I just thought that, why not we three help you relax?" Lane replied. Suddenly, Felberta's eyes brightened as she exclaimed, "Lane, you are a genius! We can use this opportunity to try and test the thing we were talking about before." "The thing you were talking about?" "You don't have to worry about it. Just sit back and let us do all the work." Felberta pushed Nux and forced him to sit on the chair. She then pulled the two maids and walked towards the corner of the office, as if trying to hide something from Nux. "So, which one should we choose? The first one or the second one?" Felberta questioned. Her voice was a little low since she was trying to hide it from Nux. Lane blushed a little, but Skyla was bolder. "Both." "Both?" "Yeah, both is good." Skyla nodded. Felberta nodded back. The more they talked, the redder Lane's face turned. "Okay, we'll do both. We'll start with the second one since the food will turn cold and won't taste good later." Skyla and Lane nodded, and Felberta nodded back. As if on cue, the three of them turned towards Nux at the same time.
Nux smiled. He found their interaction quite funny. Although he could hear what they were talking about if he wanted to, he respected their privacy and didn't use his sense. The three of them walked towards him, and suddenly, Felberta and Lane fell on their knees as they started removing his pants, freeing his little brother. Felberta then held it in her hands gently before giving it a few gentle strokes. Under the stimulation, Nux's rod reacted and turned hard. "Foo-foo, look at how lively he is." "He has been missing you for a while now," Nux replied. Then he noticed Skyla walking towards him with a plate in her hand as she sat on the chair's handle. "All right, you must be tired after fighting so many beasts. Here, have some food made by me and regenerate your energy." She then moved the fork, carrying a piece of meat towards his mouth and fed him. Your cooking is delicious as before." Nux praised while his hand moved towards her butt. "Ow!" Skyla's body jerked due to the sudden touch. Suddenly, Nux felt something incredibly soft touching his dick. He turned to look at it, and the sight he saw would never leave his memory. Never. Felberta and Lane had freed their large mountains and surrounded his rod from all four directions, giving him a double boob job. The softness he felt was on another level. Countless bolts of pleasure were released into his body. When the two of them started moving, the pleasure intensified even more, and his body twitched. The sight of their erect nipples touching each other was so good that he wanted to burn it in his memory. "On!" Nux couldn't control himself and moaned in pleasure. Seeing his reaction, Felberta grinned. Lane, whose face was a little red since she was ashamed, smiled as well. They have been planning this for a while now. The one leading it was Felberta, of course. Since she has already accepted that Nux would have many more incredible women around him, she decided to keep Skyla and Lane in her faction. The double boob job was one of the carefully thought-out moves she and her faction members created after intensive research. The two of them nodded at each other and increased their speed. "Oh!" The sensation was too much for Nux to handle, and he moaned without stopping. As Nux moaned in pleasure, Skyla moved another bite in front of his mouth. He ate it obediently while he felt an otherworldly pleasure down below. "An." To feel more of their breasts, Nux tilted his body a little. The head of his dick touched Lane's nipple, and she moaned. Nux felt good as well, and he started moving his body a little, feeling the soft and mushy breasts surrounding his dick as much as he wanted. His left hand played with Skyla's firm butt while she fed him lovingly. Nux felt like he was the luckiest man alive. He felt like a king, an emperor who was surrounded by otherworldly beauties, all loving him with their hearts. A picture of him sitting on a golden throne, surrounded by Felberta, Skyla, Lane, and many other beauties whose faces weren't clear, appeared in his mind. Nux's heartbeat quickened. A thought appeared in his mind, but then he was brought back to the real world by Felberta and Lane as they increased their speed. The pleasure he felt intensified even more, and his rod started twitching. Veins bulged out on his rod. Nux's back arched up, he tightened his grip around Skyla's firm butt, and... oh! Squirt! He came. Fresh milk exploded from his dick, covering Felberta's and Lane's faces and breasts. Felberta then licked and moved her finger throughout her face, collecting all his jizz before swallowing it all in one go. My, what a huge amount! Although Lane didn't say anything like Felberta since she was too embarrassed, she too quickly gathered his milk and swallowed it. Hey, I'm the only one left, Skyla pouted. Oh, don't worry. Just look at his weapon. Does it look like it is satisfied to you? Felberta pointed towards Nux's veiny, erect rod with a mischievous smile while still sucking her finger that collected Nux's milk. Hee, with how lively it is, we don't even need to do any foreplay to start the second round, Skyla snickered. With how lively it is, we don't even need to do any foreplay to start the second round. Skyla snickered as she quickly placed the empty plate on the table before rushing and kneeling between Felberta and Lane. She then glanced at the two, and they all nodded to each other. Skyla was clearly the most excited among them. Nux was amused by the way they were acting. He was even looking forwards to what they were going to do. He felt that if it is even a little closer to how good it felt compared to the double boob job, he would be very, very satisfied. Smooch. He didn't have to wait for long as Skyla started the performance with a kiss on the tip of his dick. She then started licking and cleaning it diligently. When his whole rod was drenched in her saliva, she smiled and opened her mouth, gobbling the whole thing inside. Ooh. Nux moaned in pleasure, but then he noticed that the other two haven't even started yet. Ah. However, before he could look down, his body shuddered in pleasure, and he moaned out loud. He barely opened his eyes and saw Felberta and Lane sucking his balls. Combining with the blowjob he was given by Skyla, the pleasure surged up, his back arched up, and he closed his eyes. His hand held Felberta's and Lane's heads while his body kept twitching. This is too good. Fuck. Even though he'd just come a few minutes ago, his dick twitched uncontrollably, and at the same time, Skyla intensified her suction. Ooh, I am coming. Squirt. As the pleasure he was feeling increased again, Nux couldn't control himself anymore and came again. What? He couldn't believe it himself. How did he come so soon? This only happened when Felberta gave him a handjob on the first night he spent with her, and that was because he was still inexperienced. How did they manage to make him come so quickly? Nux wondered inwardly. Felberta smiled as she saw his face. This was her faction's other move, the triple blowjob. And just as she thought, its effect is even stronger than the double boob job. It felt really good. I'm really glad to be back, Nux muttered with a smile. Heh? You believe our service is for free? Felberta chuckled. Of course not. Don't worry. I'll personally come to you all in due time to pay you all, Nux replied as he smirked. Lane and Felberta nodded. Skyla also nodded, but she was busier swallowing all the milk she had received. A few minutes later, Felberta and the others had already changed their clothes and had washed their faces. Right now, the four of them were sitting inside Felberta's office as if having a meeting. Then Felberta started, So, let's start in a better way. Nux, how was your trip? It was good. I gained a lot of things and have become a lot stronger. Well, I can see that. Felberta smiled seductively. She was talking about Nux's newly gained muscles. She really liked them. Then she turned serious and questioned, So, what's your next goal? To get even stronger. And how will you do that? You already know the answer to that question, Fel. Nux smiled. Yeah, I do. Felberta snorted. She knew he was going to fuck some new chicks. Of course, albeit not happy, she had already accepted it. So, do you want my help with anything? I do. I want to ask where I can find stronger girls. Yeah, I thought about that before and have some suggestions. The maids of Marquise Lana should be stronger. Then, wait. How am I supposed to get maids of this Marquise Lana you're talking about? And let alone Felberta, even Skyla and Lane glanced at him with a deadpan expression. What? Do you really want me to answer that? How did you get mine, Viscount Felberta's maids? So, you want me to enter this Marquise Lana's mansion and get those maids? Of course.
Also, unlike Viscount and Baron, one cannot become a Marquise without having cultivation. The minimum requirement to become a Marquise is master level, so even Marquise Lana is a good target for you. I get that, but I will not repeat the thing. What after I'm done with her under maids? Enter another noble's mansion? It's too long, and I won't have much time to spend with you three. We can't do that. Nux directly shook his head. Then what do you want to do? Tell me a place where there are a lot of strong female cultivators. It'll be a lot more efficient that way. There are those cultivation sects, but if you want to get the best of the bests, the finest place would be the Royal Academy. The Royal Academy, Nux muttered. Yes, I can provide you with a recommendation letter and you join it as a student. The students there are strong, and of course, the teachers are even stronger. If you're careful, your gains will be immeasurable. Who is the strongest female cultivator there, and what's her level? After the headmaster of the academy, the strongest person there is Consort Lauren. She's also the strongest female cultivator in the academy. As for her cultivation, she should be at expert stage. An expert stage cultivator. However, this world hasn't seen an emperor-level cultivator for a long time. The strongest person, the king of the Skyfall Kingdom, is a king-level cultivator. Next, them noticed something and couldn't help but question, wait, you said consort, Lauren? Consort as in... Yes, the king's consort, but their relationship wasn't the best, so she left the palace and entered the Royal Academy. Suddenly, the picture of him sitting on a throne and surrounded by different beauties appeared in his mind again. He thought about it, and then took a deep breath as he questioned, what about the king's wives, the royal harem? How strong are they? Huh? What about the king's wives, the royal harem? How strong are they? Huh? What did you say? Skyla, Lane, and Felberta were all shocked by his question. I asked how strong king's wives are. Also, don't look at me like that. I am just curious. Felberta sighed and then answered. They are strong, of course. I heard the strongest consort is at king stage. A smile appeared on Nux's face as he asked another question. Fel, what do you think about the current king? Not liking his tone and that smile on his face one bit, Felberta's face turned solemn. Nux, it does not matter what I think about the king. He is the king, the strongest person in this kingdom. Don't think something Fel, do you really think I will do something I'm not confident in? You know how scared of dying I am, right? What confidence are you talking about? How strong are you, huh? Felberta snapped in anger. I am very strong. How strong? You might be the strongest person in the advanced stage. There are countless people stronger than you out there. Heck, even my butler is stronger than you. I am strong enough to defeat 5 Joyabs without breaking any sweat. Not only that, I can fight against a Grand Master Stage cultivator if we fight without weapons or have the same level star weapons. I can even assassinate an Expert Stage cultivator. That is how strong I am. The 3 of them were dumbfounded by his words. Just what did he do there to get so strong? Suddenly, a thought appeared in Felberta's mind, but before she could even question, Nux answered. No, it is not what you are thinking. I will not touch other women without telling you. Then how did you get so strong? At what cultivation level are you right now? I'm still at the advanced stage. Hearing his answer, Felberta boiled in anger. She thought that he was teasing her. So you are telling me that while being an advanced stage cultivator, you can defeat an expert stage cultivator? I never said I can defeat an expert stage cultivator. I said I can assassinate him. It is not the same. Then, bam! Felberta wanted to say something but turned silent when a beast corpse appeared in front of her. Fiery, flaming lion, a 4-star beast which should have the same strength as a Grand Master stage cultivator. She then heard Nux's words and was dumbfounded. "Did you kill it?" Of course, it was so simple that I couldn't believe it myself. Huh. How about I fight Joyab right in front of you, then you can decide for yourself if I'm lying or not. Knowing that she still did not believe him, Nux offered. "We'll do that then." Felberta nodded in agreement. Although she wanted to believe him, she just couldn't do it. This man in front of him was twisting all her logic. How can an advanced stage cultivator defeat an expert stage cultivator? Half an hour ago, the break ended, and Joyab returned. But when he entered and saw Nux sitting on Felberta's chair with a smile on his face, his lips twitched in frustration. He returned. "Joyab, I want you to have a friendly spar with Nux." "Huh? Viscount Felberta, isn't he just an advanced stage? What if I hurt him?" "Butmer Joyab, you don't have to worry about it. Let's just start." "Don't worry, I won't hit you too hard," Nux chuckled. Joyab's lips twitched even more. "Yes, Viscount Felberta, I will do as you said and will have a spar with him." Joyab bowed as he glared at Nux. "How dare a mere advanced stage boy act arrogant in front of me? I won't hit you too hard. Should you not beg me not to go too hard on you instead? I will punch that arrogant face of yours." Joyab was angry. "All right, let's move to the garden." Felberta nodded. In the garden, Nux and Joab stood in front of each other. Joyab was very eager to start, and he didn't have to wait a lot as Viscount Felberta announced, "Start." Joyab then activated Steps of Gale and disappeared from his spot. Of course, that was only for Fel and the two maids. Nux, on the other hand, could clearly see Joab running towards him with a pathetic display of Steps of Gale. He wasn't even at the beginner stage. A few seconds later, Joab appeared in front of Nux and tried to punch his face. Nux just dodged lazily and slapped his face. Slap. Bam. Joab's body was sent flying and he passed out. The fight ended. Felberta, Skyla, and Lane couldn't react in time, and when they did, they couldn't believe their eyes. They only saw Joab dashing towards Nux at an incredible speed before flying back at an even faster speed. What in the hell happened there? That was the only question that ran through their mind. Skyla quickly woke up from her reverie and rushed towards Joab. Her eyes widened when she saw his state, and she shouted, "He passed out!" "What?" Felberta and Lane exclaimed in surprise. "I told you, right? Even 5 Joyabs won't make me sweat, let alone 1. Do you believe me now?" Then they heard Nux's words and couldn't help but believe them. Nux was a monster, an anomaly. They can't judge him with logic. So, my darling Fel, I will ask you again, what do you think about the current king?
So, my dear Fel, I will ask you again, what do you think about the current king?
"Are you really sure you want to do it?" Felberta questioned. "Don't worry. As I said, I'm very scared of death. I will not act restlessly. Also, you can be sure about one thing. If I want to run away, even a king stage expert won't be able to catch me," Nux assured with a confident smile. Of course, he was lying with a straight face. He has no clue if a king stage or even an expert stage could detect his conceal or not. However,
He knew that he would get stronger at a never-seen rate, and someday, not that far away, even the legendary Emperor stage cultivator won't be able to detect and defeat him. Felberta nodded. Though she thought it was a ridiculous notion for a king stage cultivator to not be able to catch an advanced stage cultivator, Nux was an anomaly. "Fel, you still haven't answered my question," Nux reminded gently. Then Felberta sighed in defeat as she answered. "The current king, he is not a good king, but he's not a bad one either. He's just an average king. Nothing special, really." We can't have an average king leading us, can we? How about I become the new king?" Nux spoke with a smile. Felberta's lips twitched as she thought inwardly, "Why are you even asking me? No matter what I think about the king, won't you still plan to replace him?" Yeah, we can't have an average king. You should really become our new king," Felberta replied blandly. She couldn't believe she was saying it. If someone else heard her, they would be scared shitless. What she said was nothing less than treason. She would die if her words were heard by someone. However, when she saw Nux's face, she smiled inwardly. It might not be a bad thing to die for him. Love really makes one blind and stupid. "Nux, you still haven't answered my question." Then Felberta sighed in defeat as she answered. "The current king? He is not a good king, but he's not a bad one either. He's just an average king. Nothing special, really." We can't have an average king leading us, can we? How about I become the new king?" Nux spoke with a smile. Felberta's lips twitched as she thought inwardly, "Why are you even asking me? No matter what I think about the king, won't you still plan to replace him?" Yeah, we can't have an average king. You should really become our new king," Felberta replied blandly. She couldn't believe she was saying it. If someone else heard her, they would be scared shitless. What she said was nothing less than treason. She would die if her words were heard by someone. However, when she saw Nux's face, she smiled inwardly. It might not be a bad thing to die for him. Love really makes one blind and stupid. "Nux, do you have some information about the royal harem? Some good information, a consort I can get my hands on, for example?" Nux asked seriously, as if he was talking about something very important and not about cucking the king of the kingdom he lived in. "Not really, but I can find it if you want." Can a normal Viscount get information like this?" "No, of course not, but I have my ways." Felberta smiled. "Can it be traced back to you?" Nux asked seriously. It can." After thinking about it for a while, Felberta replied. "Then forget about it." Nux directly shook his head. He was not going to let Felberta take such a big risk. "Fel, who do you think would know more about the royal harem?" Nux questioned. Felberta thought about it, but couldn't come up with an answer. Everyone who knew something more about the royal harem is someone important and can't be offended. We couldn't target her right now. "The head maid!" Suddenly Skyla's eyes brightened as she replied. "The head maid?" "Yes, the head of all the maids working in the royal palace. She should know a lot of things about the royal harem." But the head maid won't leave the royal palace easily, right? How do I contact her?" "That I do not know." Skyla lowered her head, embarrassed. "It shouldn't be that difficult to contact her," Felberta replied. "No, we can't use your name." Nux shook his head. "You don't have to. You just have to disguise yourself as a merchant from another kingdom and introduce some items to meet her. Then you can perform your magic on her later." Felberta said. "You're a genius." Of course I am." Nux snorted, but a small smile appeared on her face. But
how can any random company merchant meet the head maid of the royal palace? Won't we need some authentication? Lane interjected. The room turned silent. Lane was right. How could any merchant meet the head maid? If that was possible, the head maid would have been long dead due to overwork. What if the merchant was introduced to her by a maid of the royal palace? Would that be enough? Skyla questioned. That should be enough for the head maid to take a look, Felberta answered. Then I know a maid who works in the royal palace. We're not that close, but I can introduce you to her, Skyla suggested. Are you talking about Annis? Lane questioned, to which Skyla nodded. That might work. For Nux, it should be easy to convince that Annis you speak of. Isn't that right, Nux? Felberta glanced at Nux. Havswa nor fooling innocent girls is what you are best at. Nux didn't know how to respond to the jab that was completely uncalled for. He decided that it would be best to stay silent in this position and didn't reply. Felberta snorted, seeing him acting like that. She then glanced at Skyla and questioned, How and when will you introduce her? According to her holiday schedule, her next time off would be a week later. I can introduce you to her then. Okay, so it's decided. We will meet her and decide what to do later next week. Till then, Nux is all ours. Enjoy to your heart's content, Felberta announced, without even asking the man they were talking about. Not that the man minded or anything. So, my dear Skyla, did you miss me when I was gone? Nux whispered seductively into Skyla's ears. Right now he was inside his room with Skyla sitting on his lap facing him. He was caressing her whole body gently and slowly as if preparing his meal. I did, Skyla replied as he enjoyed his touch. How much? A lot. Ah! Skyla replied before she moaned out loud as Nux grabbed her butt. She does not know why, but whenever he touches her there, the pleasure she feels instantly heightened. Aren't you a lot more sensitive than normal? Nux chuckles as he started kneading her firm but soft butt. That's all your fault. It has been a long time since you touched me, so I am a little more sensitive than usual, Skyla complained with a cute pout. With her childish face, her pout looked lovable and could melt any man's heart. Did you not touch yourself when I was away? I did, but it didn't feel as good as when you do it, so I wasn't very satisfied. That is also your fault. Skyla blamed him again. How is that my fault then? It is when I started touching myself, it felt so good that I can't satisfy myself anymore, Skyla replied honestly. Her face was a little red, but that wasn't because she was embarrassed. It was because she felt good under his touches. She was a simple girl. Now that she has given her heart to this man in front of her, she won't be embarrassed talking about her masturbating in the past or anything like that. Then isn't it your fault that you're a horny little girl who can't even pleasure herself? Nux questioned in amusement. It is not. It was you who made me like this. I could easily satisfy myself before I didn't meet you. Ah! She pouted even more, but then Nux smiled as he tightened his grip around her butt, making her moan again. That makes sense. I will admit that it was my fault for making you like this, but since we can't change it, how about I compensate you differently? Nux questioned as he stood up and carried her in his arms. How will you compensate me? Skyla questioned with a red face. She didn't really need to ask since she already knew the answer, and to be honest, she won't have anything else for the compensation. I will help you relax this perverted body of yours, too, Nux whispered into her ears before placing her on the bed. Skyla then felt something soft on her lips. Knowing what it was, she didn't waste any more time and started the attack with her tongue. Her tongue then knocked on his teeth before entering and mingling with his tongue. She then circled her hands around Nux's neck before pulling him even closer to her. Nux's hand didn't stay idle either.
They first lowered her uniform to free her lovely breasts before removing her skirt. His one hand then gently kneaded her soft breasts while his other hand traveled down and entered her panties. Without wasting any more time, his middle finger entered her squishy canal, exploring her already familiar insides. His index finger didn't wait for long either, and once her little sister was wet enough, it penetrated in as well. His two fingers created a mess in her insides, stimulating all her weak points without any mercy. Skyla's body shuddered in pleasure. Yes, this is it. It feels so good. I would never be able to pleasure myself like this. Only he can do it. Skyla thought with whatever little sense she has left before giving it to pleasure and continuing moaning. It was as if Nux knew everything about her body, the amount of time and intensity he should rub her certain weak spot, where he should touch gently, and where he should be a little rougher. Everything he did ensure that Skyla feels most pleasure out of it. Under the intense stimulation, Skyla couldn't hold any longer. Her canals tightened and her body twitched before she came. Right after she came, Nux parted their lips, allowing her to regain her breath. Hey, look at how tired you look, my dear Skyla. Don't forget, the real part is about to begin. The real part is about to begin, Skyla thought inwardly, and when her eyes peeked at Nux's weapon that was standing tall, ready to march inside her canal, her breathing quickened even more. Satisfied by her reaction, Nux sat up, placed his rod in front of her canal, and started stroking her pussy's entrance with his dick. Skyla's body shuddered due to his teasing. Then, as if having mercy on her, he stopped his teasing and plunged his rod right into her canal. Ah, so good, Skyla moaned out loud. Her expression showed only one thing at the moment, and that was pure bliss. Nux, too, felt a wave of pleasure assaulting his body. After not being boned for a month, Skyla's vagina was tighter than usual. Nux needed some time to get used to the tightness, and once he did, he pulled out his dick and then plunged it again. His movements quickly turned smooth and the drilling started. So good, Skyla moaned in pleasure. Jolts and jolts of pleasure were released into her. Her body soon turned numb. She clenched the bedsheets hard and accepted the drilling wholeheartedly. She felt like she was finally full. The pleasure she felt continued increasing. She could feel that Nux was wilder than usual, but she didn't complain. In fact, it felt even better. She continued moaning, her back arched up in pleasure. Eyes rolled back, and canals started to tighten. She was already sensitive since she came just now, and the pleasure she felt was already too much for her to bear. She wanted to orgasm, but somewhere inside her mind, she knew that the moment she did, the pleasure that was assaulting her body would stop. So she forced herself not to come. This, however, caused her canals to tighten even more. Nux was surprised by the sudden tightness and felt that he was about to come. Then he increased his speed even more and grabbed her juicy butt tightly. I'm coming. This action caused all her efforts to be in vain, and Skyla squirted like there was no tomorrow. Nux also let go and painted her walls white before falling on her body. It felt really good. Saying that, Skyla closed her eyes and passed out. Seeing her sleeping so soundly, Nux smiled as he gently kissed her soft lips before lying right beside her. Streams of energy entered his body after he came inside, but this time the amount wasn't enough for him to level up. Nux shook his head as he closed his eyes and relished the aftertaste of their intense and delightful session. 2 hours later, Nux opened his eyes. He then turned around and glanced at Skyla, who was still sleeping soundly and with a small smile on her face. Nux smiled as well and stood up. He didn't wake her up and directly left his room. After exiting, he activated his sense and quickly found her next target. He then activated his conceal and started walking towards her. After a while, Nux could see Lane walking towards the corridor and decided to follow her. A mischievous smile appeared on his face. Lane kept walking without knowing how the person who she was thinking about right now was following her. However, suddenly she stopped and glanced toward the three maids who were talking happily. Nux frowned and followed her gaze and quickly found those three maids. "What? Edric proposed to you yesterday?" one of the maids questioned. The other maid, who was a little shorter than the two, nodded with a blush on her face. "Took him a long damn time," the first maid snorted. Hey, did you have your first time yet?" the third maid questioned excitedly. The other maid's face turned even redder as she nodded. "Last night?" "Kia! Quick, tell me the details." The maid's face was now as red as a tomato as she shook her head cutely. "I won't." What? That's so mean!" the third maid complained. All right, don't tease her now. Oriel, tell me, when are you two getting married?" the first maid questioned. Oriel smiled a little as she answered. "A month later." "You will invite us to the marriage, right?" the first maid teased. "Of course, you two are my best friends after all." Oriel nodded with a red face. Then Nux turned his head and glanced at Lane. He was surprised to see that her eyes were gleaming with excitement and jealousy as she glanced at the trio. Nux frowned. Excitement was okay, but jealousy? What was she jealous of? Wasn't her man the most handsome and the most caring person in this world? But soon Nux realized. What was different in the thing the maids were talking about? Marriage. Nux has confessed to his women many times, but he noticed that he hasn't proposed to marry any of them yet. Of course, he was happy to marry them at any time, but it won't make difference if he just thinks about it in his mind. Could they read his mind? No. He has to tell them himself. Nux nodded inwardly. He promised himself that he would propose all three of them personally. The three maids then continued talking. The third maid was persistent and continued asking Oriel about her first time. Oriel blushed each time and continued denying it. As if remembering something, Lane quickly shook her head. She then walked toward the maid and congratulated her. "Congratulations?" Then, before Oriel could reply, Lane quickly rushed away awkwardly. Nux chuckled seeing her acting like that and quickly followed her. A while later, Lane entered the bathroom, and Nux finally decided to reveal himself. With a mischievous smile, Nux walked in front of her, letting her bump into him. "Huh, Lane? What are you thinking about that you are so lost in your thoughts that you can't even see your man walking in front of you?" Of course, he also took the opportunity to take her in his embrace. Nux? Lane didn't mind being hugged by him, but she was shocked. She was sure that she didn't see him standing there. When did he appear? Was she really so lost thinking about marrying Nux that she couldn't even see him standing in front of him? "Were you thinking about me?" Being caught like this, Lane panicked as she replied, "No." "Oh, then were you thinking about another man?" "No, not at all. Why would I think about another man?" She panicked even more. Then she heard Nux chuckling before picking her up. Knowing what he was going to do, Lane quickly shook her head as she replied, "Nux, we can't do that yet. I still have work to do." "You can always do it later, right?" "No, I can't. I still have to..." Suddenly, Lane felt something soft on her lips and saw Nux kissing her gently. "You can always do it later," he questioned. "No, I have to—" Again, Nux sealed her lips. "You can always do it later," he repeated, this time his tone even gentler. Lane's face turned red and her heart started beating quickly. However, as a serious person, she quickly came back to her senses and replied, "Nux, I cannot do it right." He sealed her lips again. "You can always do it later, right?" he repeated before kissing her lips a few more times without letting her answer. "Right?" Then he questioned again. "I can always do it later, right?" Lane thought inwardly, as she nodded with a red face. Then she let Nux carry her to the bathtub and place her inside. Lane's heart was already beating very fast due to his kisses, but now that he placed her in the empty bathtub, she felt like it will burst out. She wasn't stupid, she clearly knew where this is going, and was inwardly very happy and excited thinking about it. It's been so long, she missed him a lot. "You really like it when I kiss you on your lips, huh?" Nux muttered. Lane nodded shyly. She then felt him kissing her lips again. However, this time it wasn't just a gentle peck. Soon something wet entered her mouth and started mingling with her tongue. While she was enjoying the kiss, she felt Nux's hands moving. He soon removed her skirt and proceeded to do the same with her top. He freed her soft but firm milky white breasts, and after giving them a soft kneading, he removed her bra entirely and then did the same with her panty. He then ended his kiss and stepped back. She could see him glancing at her completely naked body with his enchanting golden eyes, and her heartbeat quickened. "You are really beautiful," she then heard his voice. Her heart beamed in joy when she heard him. Her joy was then felt by her mouth, and a smile appeared on it. "It's been so long." She missed him a lot. "You really like it when I kiss you on your lips, huh?" Nux muttered. Lane nodded shyly. She then felt him kissing her lips again. However, this time it wasn't just a gentle peck. Soon something wet entered her mouth and started mingling with her tongue. While she was enjoying the kiss, she felt Nux's hands moving. He soon removed her skirt and proceeded to do the same with her top. He freed her soft but firm milky white breasts, and after giving them a soft kneading, he removed her bra entirely and then did the same with her panty. He then ended his kiss and stepped back. She could see him glancing at her completely naked body with his enchanting golden eyes, and her heartbeat quickened. "You are really beautiful," she then heard his voice. Her heart beamed in joy when she heard him. Her joy was then felt by her mouth, and a smile appeared on it. "And when you are naked like this, you are explosively beautiful. I am glad that I am the only man who could see this seductive sight." Her face turned red in embarrassment hearing him. "Remove your clothes. I can't be the only one naked here," she then muttered. Someone's getting naughty." Hearing him chuckling like that, Lane felt even more embarrassed. However, seeing him removing his clothes, she felt better. Nux first removed his robes, revealing his muscular body, with every muscle looking strong and divine. He then removed his pants, and Lane saw his rod that was already half awakened, perhaps aroused due to seeing her body. Lane smiled thinking about it before her gaze returned to his whole body. "You are really dashing when you are naked like that," she thought inwardly. She then saw him walking towards her and felt excited. He then moved his rod and placed it on the top of her right breast, or to be more specific, her nipple. Lane didn't know what he was doing, but she felt a strange jolt of pleasure assaulting her body, and she let out a moan. Then he started sliding his dick up and down. Seeing the round head of his rod crushing her nipple again and again filled Felberta with a weird sense of excitement. Not only that, she even noticed his dick turning even harder the more it moved. Her little sister trembled in excitement and anticipation, but Lane's eyes were glued on how his huge penis and her erect nipple collided.
Look how your pussy is crying for attention. Lane was brought out of her reverie when she heard her voice. She glanced below and saw her juices leaking out of her canal. She blushed in embarrassment. You don't need to be so embarrassed. I'm your man, after all. Isn't it normal for your body to crave my body? Even my body craves your body. Look how hard and ready to go my little brother is. Lane nodded, still a little embarrassed. She then felt Nux's dick moving towards her little sister. He then started sliding his dick up and down on her entrance, drenching his dick with her juice. Ah. Soon Nux entered her insides. Lane's body shuddered in pleasure. Her little sister moved its wall around his dick, feeling and gobbling up the entire thing like a very hungry person gobbling the food he received. Soon, Nux pulled his dick backwards, and Lane's insides started trembling. They only calmed when he plunged it inside again. Ah! Lane moaned in satisfaction every time Nux thrust his dick inside. The waves of pleasure that assaulted her body numbed her mind, and her body shuddered. While the pleasure she was feeling was already too much to handle, she saw Nux bending down. He then lowered his head and started licking her left nipple with a seductive smile on his face. Not enough, he gobbled up her erect nipple before sucking it intensely as he continued licking it with his tongue. Ah! 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 Lane's body was assaulted by yet another wave of pleasure. Her back arched up as she held her close to her body. Nux's other hand also started playing with her other nipple, intensifying the pleasure even more. Ah! 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 Lane moaned uncontrollably. Her body was already numb due to pleasure, while Nux kept drilling her insides. Suddenly, Nux bit her nipple at the same time when he pinched her other nipple. The sudden and intense feeling of painful pleasure jolted her awake. Her vaginal walls tightened and started twitching hysterically. I'm coming. She then finally let go and her pussy squirted. Being sucked by her walls and drenched by her juices, the pleasure Nux was feeling heightened to another degree. He couldn't hold on any longer, and, take it all in. He filled her insides with his milk. His body felt weak as he lay beside Lane before kissing her lips. Really missed, you, Lane muttered as she enjoyed the aftertaste. A smile appeared on Nux's tired face as he replied, I missed you as well.
Okay, that's enough for the day. You can take your leave, Felberta announced. Joyab, who was now conscious and was reporting everything to Felberta, felt his mouth twitching. There was still an hour before the office hours ended, and he still had a few reports to make. As expected, that man's return is bad news. It was so good seeing Viscount Felberta working seriously, but now that he has returned, she's announcing early offs again. What's worse, he has become so strong in such a short time that he can't even say anything to him now. What a frustrating and annoying man. Of course, he didn't dare say any of this out loud and just bowed before leaving. Felberta smiled before she quickly stood up and rushed to her room. She knew that Nux would be in her room waiting for her right now. She was eager to spend time with him after so long. However, just as she was imagining doing this and that with him, her two maids, now sisters, appeared in front of her and spoke. Viscount Felberta, the dinner is ready. What? The dinner is ready. Felberta frowned. These two should know what and where was she going. They shouldn't disturb her right now. But when she saw the sly smile that leaked out of Skyla's serious expression for a second, she quickly understood what they were up to. After having your fun, you dare stop me from having mine? How vicious! Viscount Felberta, don't look at us like that. We only mean your well. As someone who has already experienced what you are about to experience, I believe you will require a lot of energy. Thus, having dinner before doing the deed is advisable, Skyla advised, barely able to hold her laugh. You? Felberta was speechless. You dare talk like you are more experienced than me? Mind you, while you were just peeking through the wall, I was experiencing the real thing." How could she take it lying down? She retorted viciously as well. Skyla blushed. This was her dark memory. She was just teasing her. Why would she be so vicious to bring that up? Felberta was satisfied by her reaction and then replied, "You don't need to worry about me not having energy, since I'm more experienced in this matter than the two of you who were virgins just a month ago." With another sly jab, Viscount Felberta walked towards her room. Skyla and Lane, on the other hand, just blushed in embarrassment. They decided in their heart that they would never listen to his words and tease Viscount Felberta ever again. Nux, who initiated everything, was chuckling as he witnessed this scene with his sense. He had to admit, the two maids were nothing in terms of wordplay when compared to the Viscount. She handled them like a boss. He chuckled and then waited for Felberta to enter the room. Bam! The door then slammed open and Felberta appeared. She then saw Nux smiling at her gently as he patted his lap. She then snorted before walking towards him and sat in his embrace before questioning. "How dare you ask Skyla and Lane to hinder me from coming? Do you not want me anymore?" "What are you talking about?" Seeing him acting ignorant, she snorted again before replying, "Stop acting. Do you think I don't know my own sisters? Skyla is too clumsy to come up with something like that, while Lane is too serious to do it. The two of them would never do it until someone tells them to." You can't really win against an extremely beautiful and intelligent noblewoman, huh? Of course you can't, Felberta snorted and then smiled a little. She missed bantering like this while he caressed her body all over. "Hey, Fel, I had something to ask you about." Suddenly, Nux muttered, "What is it?" "Why did you look for a boy toy? I mean, with your looks, I won't be surprised if you found any person to become your boy toy. Heck, some might even pay for it." Suddenly, Felberta blushed before replying, "It wasn't really my idea." "I actually did not need any man. After my husband died, I raised my child alone without anyone's help. Many nobles, even marquises, asked me to be their concubine, but I rejected them all. Then my friend Fleur told me that I was a dominant type and advised me to keep a boy toy. I felt it was an interesting concept and agreed. I wasn't really planning to have sex with you, or at least until I was not ready for it, but but I was too hard to resist, huh?" Nux whispered into her ears. Felberta nodded, with a red face. She looked extremely cute right now. "But the way you acted that day looked like you have done that several times." "Oh, you can't underestimate a noble's acting, can you?" "Heh, you are one to talk," Felberta scoffed. "Huh? What do you mean? Come on, stop acting dumb. Viscount Felberta, you are really beautiful," to "My dear Fel, you look really amazing today. Do you think this is a transition one can have in just a few days?" Felberta questioned as she glared at Nux. "You caught me." Nux laughed. He decided to be honest. "You fooled me," Felberta stated. "I did. However, that was the only way I could have you all to myself, and you were just too beautiful for the greedy me to leave you," Nux whispered into her ears softly. He then picked her up and placed her on the bed before asking, "How about I compensate you with my body?" Felberta smiled before she rolled over, changed the positions as she sat on him, and then questioned, "Don't worry, I wasn't planning to let you go without compensating me with your body."
"Don't worry, I wasn't planning to let you go without compensating me with your body." Felberta smirked as she rolled on top of Nux. She might be a little mud-headed when Nux was still there with her, but last month when Nux left to go to the Blood Hills Wilderness, she thought about it with a clear mind and deduced that the change in Nux's behavior wasn't natural. He was fooling her. The revelation wasn't exactly a joyful one for her. Being tricked by someone you love isn't a very good feeling, and Felberta felt sad about it.
But after thinking about it a little more, she realized that Nooks didn't want to harm her. On the contrary, she benefited a lot while being in a relationship with him. If Nooks wanted, he could have left her after she outlived her use, but he did not. Not only that, he even helped her become an advanced stage cultivator. Thinking a bit more, she realized that if Nooks has chosen any other way to woo her, the result might not be what they were now, and she would have missed out on having an amazing partner like him, who embraces her with love. She then remembered how cheeky he was, and smiled. She will forgive him. She was very happy now, and she would like to keep it that way. Of course, since no one knew her thoughts, nobody mentioned that her thoughts were heavily biased towards her wanting Nooks to be with her. But since the conclusion she got was correct, there was no need to mention it either. Although Nooks was acting before, now he loved her, and very deeply at that, so everything was fine the way it is. However, forgiving him was one thing, using it as a chance to get her compensation was another. Felberta quickly removed his pants and freed his little brother that was already half erect. "Tisk, tisk, would you look at that? I haven't even started anything, and this filthy thing is already soaring to go," Felberta snorted. "Heh, don't forget, this filthy thing was in your mouth a few hours ago, and you were licking it as if it was the most delicious thing in the world." "Has he sworn not to let me play the dominator role?" Felberta cried inwardly as her face blushed. "You are the one compensating. You are not allowed to speak," she then ordered in a strict tone. "As you command, my dear Fel." Felberta felt shivers coursing throughout her body when he called her like that. It felt really good." "Yes, now stay silent," she ordered this time. Her tone was a little weaker than before. Nooks smiled and obeyed. Felberta's hand moved towards his dick as she stroked the filthy thing gently. Feeling her soft hands, it didn't take a lot of time for his half-erect dick to turn hard, ready and flaring to explore the cave. Felberta then removed her seductive black panty before she lifted her gown and then sat on top of him in a cowgirl position. She then held his rod and stroked it on her entrance for a little while. Jolts of pleasure assaulted her body when she did that. She moaned inwardly as her inside screamed in frustration and anticipation. She then glanced at Nooks, who had his usual smile on his face, and her lips twitched. She knew she cannot win against him like this, and would end up moaning out loud. She then ceased the game she couldn't win, and directly sat down, allowing his dick to enter her cave. "Ugh!" She was unable to hold back and moaned in pleasure. "Ugh!" However, when she heard his grunt, she felt a little better. At least she wasn't the only one to moan. She then stopped thinking about these weird things and enjoyed the feeling of his dick entering her vagina. Her insides were overjoyed as they sucked his rod intensely. When Felberta enjoyed the feeling to her heart's content, she lifted her butt before slamming it down again. "Oh!" This time, Nooks was the only one who moaned, and this brought a smile to Felberta's face. However, inwardly, she wasn't any better either. Jolts of pleasure assaulted her body continuously. Her body was already numb, and she was finding it hard to move. Her eyes were barely open at this moment. She couldn't hold back and moaned in pleasure. She wanted to lift her body again, but she was already at her limit. She then glanced at Nooks, who was looking at her with the same enchanting but annoying smile, and gave up. It was too hard to dominate him. Also, the feeling was too good and she did not want to stop at all. She opened her mouth and ordered, "You move now." "But you are the one compensating. Listen to what I say."